All right, shall we
Okay.
start? Shall I
Yes,
introduce
Savage, do you
myself?
want to just first of all maybe let everybody know a little bit of your background, what you do, what your
Yeah,
expertise
so I have between the youth desk and reservist permanent SAPS experience for about 20 years. And I've been in the security industry for about 10 years. But considering that I've been with my husband for 22 years, I've got a little bit more experience in the security industry because that is his domain. So I've learned a lot from him. A lot of experience. He says, thank you very much. So we have experienced every part of the security industry, from guarding and access control right up to management. So it's given us a little bit of insight. And in SAPS, obviously I've dealt with a lot of complainants and situations and incidents that has given me a little bit of insight, as most police officers have. So I've just made it my passion to impart the knowledge to CPF patrollers, the communities, and I have had a chat on Women's Day, and then on the month of violence against women. You know, the activists have asked me to come and have a chat to women and just explain to them about domestic violence and what they can do from their side if they see a family member involved, or even if they are involved. And we must remember that it's not just women that are suffering with the domestic violence, but it's children and men too. Although there's a very big stigma in South Africa that a man won't complain about domestic violence. And if he does, he will technically withdraw the case before it goes anywhere. So,
right,
yeah.
So,
right.
Savage, Savage. Let me just keep it at Savage as well.
No problem.
So, I mean, obviously, you've left the police force quite recently. So, just tell us about your business. I mean, because I know you offer a lot of services, and this is
Yes.
your moment, for the soapbox to do the shameless advertisement. What do you offer? Where can people get hold of you? And have you got a WhatsApp? Have you got email?
I
What is
do.
the
So
how can somebody get hold
I
of you?
actually just started my business in January, so I'm trying to do it alone. And yeah, it's a bit tough being in a man's world, isn't it? So I do consultation for security companies. I help them write policies and procedures, SOPs. I do training of guards. I do training of armed response officers. I do training of, how can I say this, your strike and riots teams.
Yeah.
I am a qualified instructor for that. I'm also a firearms instructor, although I'm not technically doing it yet. Upskilling and development of all staff in the security industry, control room. I've written manuals to actually train people on the job they have to do. I also have just now, with my business, decided I'm going into guarding and vehicle recoveries and tracking. So yes, it's a bit big chunk I'm trying to bite out of the industry. So I'm hoping that I'll get there eventually, but I'm taking it slow because I think once I start get going on the contract part of it, the guarding and the tracking and the recoveries, I'm going to be so busy that I might not be able to do my upskilling and development of communities, CPF, and also staff at security companies. So it's I'm just taking it day by day and seeing where it lands. If you
Right.
want to get hold of me or have any questions on what we discussed tonight, or if you're interested in my services, it will be info@ssu-dps.co.za. I've asked Double D to just put in the chat, just to put the email address there, and you guys can contact me on WhatsApp. I'll ask him to put the cell phone number there for you guys, where you guys can contact me. It's the one that you've been contacting me on, Ellie.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So,
That's awesome.
did you say that Double D is going to put that in the comments? Is that
Yes,
what you're
he is.
saying?
Yes,
Okay,
he's going to do that
perfect.
for us.
Hello, Mr. Keaton.
Yeah, my
All right.
secretary.
Cool,
Thanks,
man.
Taz.
Cool.
All right.
All right, so I guess we can begin.
Okay,
Savage,
perfect.
let's start with the first one.
Hi, teaspoon. All right, so I'm going to do something that a lot of self-defense instructors don't do. Is I'm going to start from the beginning, from scratch. In order for us to start getting into the mindset and discussion of self-defense, we need to understand the crime element and climate in South Africa. We need to understand why it is considered a crime, why is it unlawful, and how it affects us as a community. So in the financial year 2023 to 2024, we in South Africa had experienced 1.8 million counts of serious and violent crimes. It was recorded. Those are the ones that are reported. 1.8 million counts. That is crime against you as a person. It's not just property crime. So that is a very high number. But have you guys heard, now you guys know that the police put out statistics of crime in the areas and what's been happening. But have you ever heard of the dark figure? Have you guys ever heard of that?
No, but I am curious.
Yeah, so I also don't know the terminology, but I know what it's about. And I think this is going to be the scary one.
Yes, absolutely. It is very scary. So the dark figure is the gap between actual crime occurrences and ones that are unreported. So we're talking about unreported incidents of serious and violent crimes that has not been reported to the SAPS or a case has not been opened. So the extent of that, according to the statistics of South Africa Governance and Public Safety and Justice Survey, I'm going to read here. Housebreaking, approximately 51.4% of these were not reported in the year 23 to 24. 54% of housebreakings were not reported. These are the ones where... Say again, sorry?
So if you take the 1.8 million, that's roughly about half of what is actually committed. So we're talking roughly about 3 million crime.
Look, remember, the 1.8 million concerns all, personal crimes. Person-to-person crimes, violent crimes. It's not just housebreaking, it's armed robbery, it's all of that. So that is a culmination of all of them, is the 1.8. Just the housebreakings is 51.4% that was not reported. Home robberies, an estimated of 238,000 incidents occurred, affecting 195,000 households. But only 56.8% was reported between the year 2023 and 2024 financial year. That is a big, big problem.
It is.
That is a big problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and the assaults, out of the 68,000 households affected, only 53.7 were reported. Nearly half remained unreported. That's scary. That is very scary. Remember, that includes also domestic violence, your assaults on the street, your taverns, your bars, your parking lots. It's a big, big number. Then theft of personal property, over 1.5 million incidents were estimated, with only 41.4% reported to the police.
Yeah. So we were just talking about it, as we were just kind of, waiting for everybody to join.
Yes.
I mean, if we take, if somebody breaks your window and steal your purse or your wallet or whatever it is that you've got in your vehicle, the only reason why I would go and report it, is to get a case number for my insurance.
Absolutely.
But no fingerprints gets taken for those, I want to call it petty crimes, because it's not a serious or a violent crime that's committed.
So there is an order that it should be done. However, the LCRC is so backlogged at the moment that it will be over a year before you even get a response. So, and I'm not trying to put them down in any way, shape, or form. They are understaffed. They are under-equipped. So it is very, very unlikely that they will get to you soon enough. So the lesser crimes they don't really see as a priority. It's more where weapons were involved, or a murder, or anything like that. Your serious Schedule 1 offences. So yeah, it is kind of a mess up. But unfortunately, we live in a society where the perceived ineffectiveness of the police in South Africa is a very negative part. So most of the people that don't report are the ones that have either received their items back through security catching it, or SAPS catching and returning the stuff. Then they say, no, I don't want to open up a case. I got my stuff back. They're not interested. And
Yeah.
then you get the ones where the fear of retaliation, like victims might fear for further harm or retaliation. Like if they have taken your house keys with the hijacking, they've taken it with the car, they recover the police recover, or the security recover the vehicle, but your house keys are no longer there. Now you remember, okay, hold on, I had paperwork in my car with my address on. So instead of not reporting that, they'll rather keep quiet and say, no, I don't want further harm. I don't want to be a
Yeah.
further victim.
I don't want to stray too far off topic, but it goes a little bit further as well, and maybe this could be considered as a tip. But typically, if you've got your some sort of a GPS guidance software on your phone,
Absolutely.
Waze or Google Maps or whatever the flavor is that you're using, normally it's got the capability to store a home address. So if you're driving somewhere, you can just tap on the home button and it will take you all the way to
Yeah.
your home. Now, if your vehicle gets hijacked or if your phone gets stolen, that is also a like a literally a roadmap to your residence.
Yes. So what I had done in the past, and I don't know if it worked or anything, but I've on my GPS. Remember the Garmin we had, and
Yeah.
your navigation on your screen in the car, especially your newer vehicles. I used to put home as the nearest police station's address.
That
That's
is
interesting. That's clever. I just want to quickly give a moment to the comments here. Tazzy is
Yes.
asking, how do they know about the ones that are not reported? Interested, sorry, is it like a survey?
It's a survey that is completed in communities. And also remember the police reports, there's incident reports done. If you contact the police, either OB entry is made or there's an incident report done on the system for you, and it's got an incident report number. And that is ones that have not gone to open to where a docket was opened. So
Okay.
remember, police stations get audited, and that
yeah.
is part of it. And then also your CPF plays a big role in reporting cases that have not had the full effect of the SAPS behind it, behind the investigation. So so surveys done through that is yeah. And Floxy said in the comments just now, you guys are also discouraged from opening cases. Yes, you do find, unfortunately, some police officers who do not want to open up a case for whatever reason they have. But not all police officers are like that. And you guys need to understand that there are still very hardworking police officers there. And you've got the security companies that stand behind you when you need to open up a case, because they form a bond with these police officers, assisting the police officers on the outside. So you can always ask your security company to assist you in a matter, or your CPF for that matter, to assist you if a police officer doesn't open up a case for you. There is a standing order that states that if you have a case, say, where in Durban something happens, but you actually stay in Gauteng. So instead of you opening up a case in Durban, you open up the case in Joburg, and they'll say to you, no, it's not my station. I can't open the case. You have to go back to where it happened. That is not the case. Those are lazy police officers.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah. So please remember that when you need to open up a case, they cannot refuse unless there is no unlawfulness to the case. If they advise you to say there was no intent, there was no unlawfulness of the crime, or whatever your complaint is, then they won't open up a case. They can, however, give you an incident report.
Right, because I feel like that's something that comes up a lot. I think you actually just busted a big myth right there. I think there's a big misconception around that. So thank you for that. That is interesting.
Same with domestic violence, where they will tell you, no, you have to go to court on Monday. There's no such thing. If there's a crime that has been committed, if you've been assaulted, or any of the acts against the Domestic Violence Act, you can open up a criminal case. You need to understand
Okay.
that. And in many cases, I think why the police are also discouraged into opening domestic violence cases is when Monday rolls around, they withdraw the case.
Ah, okay.
However, with
Okay.
a new
That does
section,
happen.
I think it's section 23 or section 21, please, I stand to be corrected, of the Domestic Violence Act, where it states that in some serious cases, the person that is the complainant cannot withdraw the case. It will be up to the magistrate and the prosecuting authority to decide whether or not they will withdraw the case or not.
Okay.
So just
Right. So that
keep
is
that in mind.
so once you've registered it, it's kind of in their hands then to say,
Yeah.
well, okay, they will allow you to um, to close the case without any further consequences.
Yeah. So
Um,
like in your lesser, and I say lesser because although it's not less for that person that's actually going through it, where there's not grievous bodily harm, there might be a chance for the person the complainant to actually withdraw the case. However, in serious cases, especially when there's been hospitalization or where there's kids involved, the police officer or the detective will take that docket to the prosecutor and ask the NPA to make a decision on whether to go forward with the case or withdraw it on behalf of the complainant. So
okay.
yeah, there's a lot to unpack with the domestic violence. I think it
Mm.
will take a couple of hours to explain everything to you guys on that.
Right.
So yeah, so another reason for why people don't open cases is the cultural and social norms. So in certain communities, there may be a stigma associated to reporting crimes. You know, they call you a rat. And you guys have heard this. You
Right.
know,
Okay.
you how dare you go to the police? They are not to be trusted, etc., etc. So there's another reason why there's certain cases not reported for fear
Okay.
of what the community will say, especially
Right.
your more, and I say this with a lot of respect and love, but your communities where there's a lot of poverty and a lot of gang related crime, you will find in those communities that they really, yes, Umbrian says snitches get stitches, exactly. So they might not open a case due to that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, and then
Okay.
lack of awareness. Some individuals may not recognize a certain incidents as crimes and may be unaware of the proper channels to report them. A lot of myths, like you guys were saying earlier, do surround in reporting certain crimes to the police. People say, "Yeah, they just broke the window and they just took my phone out of the lounge off the table." You know, so is it really worth it to open up a case?
Right.
I don't have
Right.
insurance, so that doesn't help. But then there are people like where there's an armed robbery that has taken place, or I'm going to say this, grape, you know which one I'm talking about, where you get
Yeah.
essayed. There's also a stigma attached to that in the communities, that they will be seen as, they don't want to be a victim twice, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean. So
Yeah.
they might not want to. I don't think they want to report due to them thinking that their parents might say something, or their family members, or their spouses. Um, they will look down on them and judge
Yeah.
them for the
Yeah. And also
situation.
the shame
Yes,
factor,
the shame,
that you,
Yeah.
absolutely. And also, they will, victim blaming gets done all the
yeah.
time. Oh, but they shouldn't have been wearing that. They shouldn't have been walking here. They shouldn't have been doing that. That is a very, very big thing, where the victims blame themselves instead of going and reporting it.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Right.
also, there's some police officers that there is sensitivity training in the SAPS. Let's be honest. We know that it's there. But there's also a cultural difference where some people are seen less than. So there is, sometimes they don't know how to deal with the trauma, or someone, even if it is especially an older police officer, and he's like, it's a taboo subject. So
Right.
he won't know how to deal with it because of his own feeling inside, and
Right.
that might traumatize the victim again.
Yes.
So the police do have sensitivity training where they do train the people to make sure that they are able to assist the victim. And it's called victim empowerment. I don't know if you've ever heard of that or seen it up in the police stations where they've got the posters where it says victim empowerment, and these are the steps you need to follow.
No, I must be quite honest. I do not know enough, as to the processes that happens. Maybe we can quickly just talk about that. I take it there will be some sort of a social worker as well that works closely with the SAPS.
So you've
If
got your FCS. You guys
FCS,
know FCS, yeah.
okay,
So
so
I don't know if you guys knew the old child protection unit.
yeah,
They called now FCS. And for the lack of my brain and nervousness, I cannot tell you what it's actually called right now. But please, you can Google it. It will be there. But yeah, it's called victim empowerment. So what police stations have done is they've taken one separate room where they will put you in with either a detective that is a female or a female that's working in the charge office to interview you. They will help you with trauma counseling. They will help you with a J88, taking you to a hospital so that you can be a grape test kit can be done.
yeah,
And yeah, so there is a lot that the police officers can do. So there is a stigma attached that police officers don't have these things in place when they do. I know certain areas don't have the equipment and the help that is normally in bigger cities, but there is still help. And I will, once we are finished here, if anyone is interested, there is numbers that you guys can call. Even the police officers sometimes use these numbers to assist, victims of crime and trauma. You've got the chaplain service in the police that also do come out to very serious incidents. So yes, they are equipped to do it and help.
okay. I don't know if you might know this, but from a statistic point of view, if you do report let's call it the grape case, what
Yeah.
is the success rate, from the report to a convicted, let's call it a criminal, because I mean that is what they are.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
what is the
So look,
success rate?
I'm going to be honest with you. Unless there is evidence in the kit, it does become murky. It does become a grey area. And unfortunately, although I have seen detectives put in the work and get convictions, even there was no kit.
Okay.
So yes, it does happen, but you need a bulldog, someone that's going to
Okay.
push the case through and find the evidence as such. And yes, we actually do have some successes, to be honest with you.
Okay,
Especially
so that's good to
with
hear.
staff.
Yeah, that's good. I am happy to hear that because yeah, there is already there is already, I think, such an injustice when it comes to that category of crime. So I'm glad to know that there are people that fight to get a conviction, even if there is no evidence in a kit. So I just want to say, Lord of Darkness is asking, what crimes are the worst there? I mean,
Okay,
what is
so-
happening the most often?
So murder and attempted murder has actually risen by 4.5% from the previous stats. So grape is up. I'm calling it grape, guys. Let's be honest. We know what it means. Assault, GBH, which is assault with the intent to cause a grievous bodily harm, has gone down.
Oh, wow.
It's so confusing for me. Common assault is up. Sexual offences is down. Domestic violence is up. And then gang-related violence, believe it or not, in certain areas has gone down. Where your organised crime like hijackings and stuff like that and home invasions have gone up. So, it's an entity that lives and breathes on its own, guys. It changes on a daily basis. The trend and the MOs change continuously. So I would say, to be honest with you, our armed robberies are currently the highest complaint that we have, besides domestic violence. In my opinion, someone else might be able to get better stats on that, but that's in my opinion.
Right. I just want to also just quickly just take a moment to thank everybody in the comments who is liking, sharing, and gifting. I see you guys.
So
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have reason to believe that in South Africa, all these crimes that I've now mentioned to you, and we know and understand that there's a trauma that takes place during that time. Correct? We all know there is a certain, when the crime is imminent or it takes place, you have got this fight or flight situation that's going on in your head, correct? Okay,
Yeah.
So now there's also freeze. People don't realize that in some instances people completely freeze, especially with grapes and hijackings. It's sometimes even home invasions. They just freeze. They can't fight. They can't run away because their brain cannot conceive any way out of it. Okay, so when a human is faced with a traumatic event like that, whether it's imminent or about to happen, has already started, the body and mind respond rapidly in an effort to survive. Okay, it's called acute stress response. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of that, acute stress response.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just know it as a different terminology. That's our, and I don't know how correct it is. And I know we've got some very knowledgeable people in the chats, but I know it as a lizard brain. That is the basic, that goes back, let's say, to our, I want to call it the ancient times, where
Primal.
the primal, exactly, where that response, obviously was triggered for survival of that time period, and that is just something that kind of got embedded in our psyche, basically.
Absolutely.
So you either fight back, you run away, or as you say, you just stand still and hope nobody sees you. Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen the comedies. Sometimes they have, he can't see me, he can't see me, he can't see me, and then the bully attacks them. I know people think that's funny, but that's actually what happens. You literally freeze in place. You can't run away. You don't even take any information in. Your brain is just switched off. So what that is called, as soon as the threat is detected, the brain's amygdala, emotional processing center, I'm saying that I can't say it because I'm Afrikaans, lost my ape. Okay, so it sends a distress signal to the hypothalamus, okay, and which activates a sympathetic nervous system. This sets off a cascade of hormonal and physical changes. That is the definition of your fight, flight, and freeze acute stress response. That is basically what the definition is for that. So people who, after a traumatic event, says, I should have done this, I should have done, and they feel shame or they feel bad, or they like, I should have done something, my husband or my wife got hurt, I didn't protect them, or anything like that. It's not something that you can help. It's your brain switching off. There's nothing you could have done differently. And in a lot of those times, your heart and your rate and your blood pressure increase. The cortisol stress hormone kicks in shortly after to sustain the alertness and the physical, what's the name that it's caused. Adrenaline. I don't know how many of you have been through a situation when you shake after an incident has happened. That's the adrenaline dump that is happening to your body. Right. So we need to try and get you guys into a situation where you have a second nature. I know we've all spoken about the second nature. When you're driving, you don't think of putting the vehicle in first, second, third. You just do it. You put the clutch in. It becomes second nature to you. It's your body's response that's muscle memory. Now, we have to remember the brain is a muscle too, guys. So how are we going to train ourselves to get to a point where you can defend yourself or run away or protect the people around you? It's training, 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 training.
So can you maybe just take us through an example? What do you typically do, for the training? Because obviously I'm not gonna stop at every robot, and say, please come hijack me so I can train for this scenario, in the
No,
future.
obviously
So
not.
what do you,
Going through scenarios in your head. Where can the suspects come from? Are they approaching me? What is that guy up to? Being alert, and we will discuss that as I'm going down. It will give you all the steps on to get yourself to a point where even if you go and do pew pew training, or you do Krav Maga, or any other martial arts, you will immediately be able to do something because of your brain, not just because of your physicality. A lot of people think that self-defense is just physical, but it's not. It starts first with you acknowledging of the incident that might take place, finding something suspicious, listening to your gut, training your brain to see things that you otherwise would have been ignoring. You would have ignored it. People walking in the street. I find it very, very funny that sometimes people walk into a mall and they'll say, okay, this guy gives me the creeps, but then carries on shopping and doesn't take note of where he is or what he's doing.
yeah.
Just the information came to your brain. You acknowledge the feeling and you do nothing about it. I explained to someone this morning that it takes 2 minutes and 3 seconds for your brain to switch over to forget everything that you've seen, unless you've trained your brain to remember certain aspects of a person's facial features, his body features, and all of that. So if you are in a mall and you say that, and then you go, oh, look, flowers, it's gone.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever heard of that saying, oh, look, squirrel. You're busy talking about something, and oh, look, squirrel. That's the same thing. When you are ignoring your gut feeling and you're complacent, it makes you a target, because you're always a target.
So, I can relate to that. And it's just a little bit of a tidbit from my side. About 5 or 6 months ago, I was driving home, and the complacency is exactly what you now mentioned. One never expects, something to happen to you at home. That is your safe place, let's call it your bastion. Nothing typically happens to you at home.
Yes.
And I was driving in my driveway. I opened the electric motor, the gate motor.
Yeah.
I was driving in, and my neighbor walked in at the same time I was driving in. I did not see him. In fact, I did not even see him approach the gate. And when he knocked on my window, then I realized, hang on, somebody is with me in my property. Without realizing that he's walked in. Obviously, as I was driving in, he caught me in my blind spot, and it could have been somebody with malicious intent.
Absolutely.
Luckily for me, it was my neighbor. We just had a quick conversation, but then I realized I've become so complacent, that I 20 meters away from the gate, I already start opening the gate, and I'm just driving as if nothing will happen. And that's probably the worst place for a crime to be committed.
So most of the crimes happen in certain areas where you feel complacent and comfortable.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because we tend to feel that criminals are idiots. I don't know why in South Africa we believe that they are dumb, but they're not. They have watched you for a while. If you had been observant, and I will get to all of that, what we're going to be doing, and how to train yourself into seeing what's the word I'm looking for? To see the signs of what's about to happen. All of that will be discussed. However, just a quick tidbit before we carry on. You said that you came from your blind spot. Any of you guys done K53, your driver's license?
We all have. Hopefully we all have.
Right? Okay, so now, when you are driving, you've got your middle mirror, you've got your side mirror, and your blind spot. K53, you check your blind spot, you check your mirror, you check your mirror, you check your mirror, blind spot.
Yeah.
Have you
And that should
noticed that,
happen
Robert?
every second.
Have you now not become more alert of your surroundings?
Since then, yes. Um, I've made it a point, to, and it's just a subconscious, let's call it I want to say training, or subconsciously, I've made myself more aware of these situations. But who knows, 2, 3, 4 months down the line, I might fall back to the complacency.
Complacency, and the syndrome in South Africa that we sit with is it won't happen to me.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
won't
that is,
happen
I
to me.
think,
Right.
the greatest lie there ever is. It will not happen to me.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is what happens. Is that in South Africa, until it does happen to you, you felt like you won't. And also, we have this ego situation in South Africa, and I don't know if it's anywhere else in the world, but where people who've got SAP security and military experience, they won't touch me. They can't get me. I'll do this and I'll do that. I'll do this until you can't. Then what do you
Yeah.
do? Have you not prepared yourself? No, you haven't. And I was one of those. Believe you me, I did that. Thank you for the love, Psycho. I was one of those people that I've been trained. I am quite observant. I am sharp. I can do what I need to do. Okay, yes, I've had situations where I've gotten myself out of. But how did I get in that situation? Why didn't I prevent it? And that is exactly what I'm talking to you guys about today, is to try and prevent you from becoming a victim. Self-defense starts before the action, before the incident. And that is why I need you guys to be more prepared, not non-complacent, be more alert. And I will teach you guys all these little factors on what you can do, the practices that you can do at home to make you and your family more safe. You can teach these things to your kids. It makes them more alert and more safe.
Right.
All right.
I just want to quickly give some comments here. I don't want to
Yes.
ignore the folks in the comments. So somebody asked you, Tazzy, how many times do people that are defending themselves, example, the perpetrator, get found guilty?
That is, I can't say. It's like saying an apple is green, but you get red, yellow, and all the other colors. You cannot put a price on that. I promise you. I've looked for percentages today to see what the conviction rate is to the what's name, but every like the newspapers, BC sources or BCT sources, sorry, my bad, and Business Tech, Car Track, Tracker, all of these places, and every single one of them have got a different percentage.
Okay.
So how do I give you a percentage? All I know is that you do get convictions, and you do get, unfortunately, incidents where a victim is also blamed for the unaliving of the suspect. We know this does happen, but you have to look more. Everyone is like, oh, yeah, you see, the victim is getting blamed. There's more laws covering the suspects. No, it isn't. If you know your law and you know your Section 49, use of law for... if you are using Section 49, use of force, okay, it has to be proportionate to what you are going through, because a life is a life.
Right.
Okay, regardless of how bad they are, or how bad you think they are, or what your opinion is of a criminal, they still are alive, and they are covered by our human rights and our constitution. And you guys need to remember that, teaspoon. So you need to know your law inside and out. There's no time to hesitate. If you hesitate, you're done.
Yeah.
So you need to know that in that instance, you need to know whether or not you can use excessive force, fatally wounding someone, or using a weapon that is not proportionate to the crime. So you can't, because someone is stealing your TV, your big screen TV, and they're running away now, because you can't catch them, you cannot pew them.
Yeah.
Right.
Understand? So yes, unfortunately, it does happen in this country. As for the conviction rate, like I said, all the sources that I went to, including SAP's webpage, gave me completely different stats. So I'm not even going to try.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, it's like asking how long is a piece of string. This becomes
Exactly.
circumstantial. What evidence are there? And what was the um, the factors around the crime. So
Yes.
I totally get that there's no yes or no answer for this one.
No, unfortunately not. But if we as a society keep saying, yeah, I'm not going to report it because, I'm not going, anything's going to happen, that stigma will be attached to that specific thing that you said now. Because you cannot say there's no conviction rate for serious crimes or a victim gets blamed if you don't, as the community, stand together and actually give the police the real stats. Certain police stations, I understand that some people don't want to open cases because that will make their stats high and then they look bad in the senior management. The problem with that is that they don't then have the equipment or the resources or the budget given to them in order to fight or curb the crime in that area. So we as a community have to stand up and say, report it, report it, report it. And if it goes to trial and you get a conviction, great. If you don't get a conviction, don't be despondent. It happens. There is elements of crime that has to be followed. There has to be the system has to be followed, and we have to make that system work for us instead of for the criminals. So by reporting correctly, what I'm going to train you today will be how to report, as a witness. A lot of times crimes happen and the victim or the witness will say, no, I think he was 1.7 tall. No, I think he's 1.9. I think he was wearing a green shirt or brown pants, but I can't be sure. And then the victim says contradictory to the victim, no, it was a red shirt and black pants. Do you understand? So if we as a society train ourselves to take the correct information in the brain when an incident happens, we might get more convictions, guys, because then you can identify them correctly.
Right. Sorry, I just want to quickly divert back here to sorry, is it Tazi? She's actually asking for the second time now. Do you have stats on the worst province?
Yes. So depending on which crime you're looking at. Okay. So if you're looking at hijacking, you're looking at Western Cape at 82%. Instead of vehicle thefts, they have hijackings. They do have vehicle thefts, don't get me wrong, but the hijackings is more prevalent. If you look at murder, Gauteng and KZN are the highest. Okay. As for the percentage on that, I'll have to go and look at my notes, and I've diverted so far off the agenda that we've had because I went off on a tangent. So, yeah.
I don't think you've gone off on a tangent. I think you've been pretty much within the scope of yeah. I think you've just maybe answered a few more questions related to those different but I definitely think you're definitely within the scope.
So in the Eastern Cape we've got kidnappings for ransom. Huge there. Absolutely it's crazy. It is very, very big there. So there's not one province I'll say that is overall the worst. We know that there's certain cities that are the worst, but it doesn't mean that the province is the worst. So it depends on what crime you're looking at. Like for grape, you're looking at KZN, again, one of the highest rated for the grape and essays in South Africa. So yes, it depends on which crime you're looking at.
Right.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah. I missed the first one. Savage, what did you say is the first province that you said? What was the crime, the worst crime in the first one that you mentioned?
Western Cape. The Western Cape has got, that's contact crimes in the Western Cape is the highest. But that's, once again, people might be reporting more in those areas. That's why I say crime stats is nice to have, but it's not, I don't feel it's accurate. Because you don't have people that are actually reporting correctly. So is those stats correct? So, but from what has been reported, that is the stats that I have.
Okay.
Anything
Because
else?
there are sorry, because there are a lot of people. I mean, we obviously, I think everybody has knows everybody that's been subjected to crime in one way or another, and
Yes.
it is a popular mindset to say that I'm not gonna report it. It's not worth reporting it. I hear that often from people.
Exactly. The time it's they say it's going to take so long at the police station. I have to sit there and wait and do this and do this and do this. At the end of the day, um, if you guys don't report it, what if that specific person you can identify,
Yeah.
or the police let go because you're refusing to open up a case, now it goes down the road the next day and unalive someone? How are you going to
Mm,
feel about that? People don't take into consideration what their actions will have in the future, because you don't know if that criminal has got is going to escalate. You don't know
right.
if he's going to. So, say he was just a petty thief. Oh well, I get away with petty theft. Maybe I should try armed robbery. You understand?
Right.
You guys need to remember that we as kids, when you do something wrong, you get punished. That teaches you right from wrong, correct? Now, if you get away with everything every single time, you're going to give your mom and dad grief as a teenager and as an adult, because you're a spoiled brat and you get away with your actions. And that's exactly what criminals are. They are spoiled brats. They want fast money. And because of the
Mm,
poverty and the unemployment level in South Africa, we need to take that into consideration, that it's easy money for them to steal a car. It's easy money for them to do hijacking or CITs or housebreaking, all of this. It's easy money. It's quick money. As
mm,
And when I say easy money, I know it's it sounds inconsiderate, but it's true. Why
Yeah.
work for a month for a salary that is below the poverty line, or for you to survive in a month, than get money, say, every day or every week, where you
Yeah.
can sustain it? Whether it be for drugs, whether it be for alcohol, whether it be gang related, organized crime, or to feed your family.
right. And there was a discussion going around a while ago because it is a lot of people who commit these crimes. The poverty is rife, right? And like you say, the income in working an honest job is hardly worth it. And there
Yes.
was a discussion that was going around on social media, and it reached my son's school. They were talking about it in class, and it
Yeah.
was that they will that if criminals and they commit crimes, they don't mind getting arrested because it's better than being homeless, in
Yeah.
prison. So it's good either or,
Absolutely.
and there were children in this discussion in the class that agreed with that concept. They agreed that, you know, it's
Three
scary.
meals a day, roof over your head. In wintertime, you have a blanket.
Yeah.
You don't have the responsibility of looking your family in the eyes that you cannot provide for them. I mean, there's many reasons why people do crime, whether it
Yeah.
be for gang violence or gang initiation or organized crime, or um, but the human element, there's always more to it. So we as a community need to remember that when we don't want to become a statistic. We don't want to, but we're not willing to put the work in. You understand what I'm saying to you? We're not willing to be alert. We are complacent. And I know I'm going to be tarred and feathered for this, but we are in certain instances making ourselves a victim.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm
Yeah.
not talking about grape or essays or domestic violence or anything like that. I'm talking about in certain instances where you could have prevented from being hijacked. You could have prevented your housebreaking or anything like that. So self-defense, it doesn't just kopskiet and donor. It starts with you making yourself and your family safe, training yourself to make sure you are not the easiest target on the road.
Okay.
Right.
It's as easy as
If
that.
you've got if you've got some advice to give somebody, where would you start? So let's say, for instance, I'm now very ignorant in all of this. What advice would you give me to say, start with, let's say, step number one, and try to implement the following either routines or training
So that is
or
part. We will get to it a bit later.
okay.
So the
So we'll put it
reason
on.
why I want you guys to understand the trauma that is related to the crime, and why I want you to understand the elements of crime, is so that you guys can see the importance of why it is necessary for you to train in exactly what you have said now, giving you pointers on how to safeguard yourself and your family, what you can do to make yourself lesser of a target. But I must tell you, I need you guys to understand that nothing is foolproof. If they want it, they will come and take it. And unfortunately, sometimes your luck runs out. It's your turn. And all of these is a deterrent, but doesn't always stop it. And some of my tips might be different to some of the other experts' tips. You need to use what works for you, what makes you feel comfortable, what you feel is better for you. It's like when you buy a pew-pew, everyone says, yeah, this is tactical. No, it's what feels comfortable in your hand. When you are putting the pew-pew and the pew through the paper, you need to know, okay, yes, this is something I can see myself every day carry, EDC. So that's exactly your training method and everything that you're doing. I can give you the tools, but it's up to you to decide whether or not you want to do Krav Maga, you want to do karate, you want to do MMA for self-defense, or you want to get a pew-pew, or you want to train with knives and swords. That's completely up to you. I cannot take responsibility for that. Only you as a person can take the responsibility and decide what is best for you and your family. Okay, so you've got this emphasis on getting physically fit for self-defense. Now, as you guys can see, I'm not the smallest woman in the world. I am not. I do not lie to myself. I have a mirror. Okay, but I can help myself in a situation. And I want people to know that no matter how unfit you think you are, you can always be prepared to defend yourself. Okay, that is a stigma. And yes, there's certain people who believe that you have to be able to go to the Olympics to be able to defend yourself. Good for them, happy for them. I like my cheeseburgers. Finish and club. So don't stop yourself from getting the knowledge and the training in order to defend yourself, because someone else is tactical and is Rambo's brother in peace and can blow shit up. No. Don't let that stop you from training yourself to defend you and your family. Okay. When an incident takes place, guys, I want you guys to remember we were talking about the fight, flight, or freeze. There's certain exercises that you guys can do at home to self-regulate. You teach yourself breathing exercises. So you've got your 4 count, your box breathing. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of box breathing.
Yeah.
Box breathing is we go in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds. Okay, so that can teach your mind to, like when you're in a situation, you do the breathing exercise, and because you're counting, it takes your mind to another place and it actually grounds you. It's called a grounding technique. So there's another grounding technique where you remember numbers. So you'll say to yourself, okay, how many suspects are there? Okay, 1, 2. What colors pants are they wearing? What color shirts are they wearing? What shoes are they wearing? What cap? What car? All of that. By you remembering specifics, it will take you out of that trauma response of your brain and will actually give you something to work with. It will take you out of the situation and think of it more clinical than emotional. So that is something you guys can practice at home. When you're sitting there and you hear a noise, then you say, okay, I'm sitting in my lounge. Where could entrance be? Where can I exit? If someone comes through that door, where do I go? What do I have here to defend myself? This is how you train yourself Your brain is a muscle. You have to remind yourself how and what you can do in a situation. Ask yourself a question. If you're at a restaurant, okay, if they come to the mall to rob people or rob the jewelry store, what do I do? Where do I go? How do I safeguard my family, my kids, my wife, or my husband, etc.? So you'll look at exits. You'll look at tables or walls instead of tables that you can use as cover or concealment for when there is a pew-pew man standing there and just going wild. Okay,
Right.
so these are questions you ask yourself. If you are driving, you say, okay, that car with that registration number, how many people were in the car? Is there a sticker on the car? What side is the license disc on? What is the number plate? Is there dents in the vehicle? By doing that, you're training your brain to see and acknowledge information that can help you in a situation where there's supposed to be fight, flight, or freeze. To take in the information, to be able to report it, to get them to catch the people. Okay, so tactical breathing is inhale deeply through the nose for 4 seconds and exhale slowly through the mouth for 6 to 8 seconds. That can help you to calm yourself down. It's a sniper thing or a pew-pew thing when you go and do targets. It will teach you to do your breathing. And as your breath comes down, then you pull the rigger, let's say rigger, before we get nanoed here. So yes, and then body scanning. You acknowledge that when you get a fright, if someone comes to you and they give you a fright, where is the first feeling you find that is affected by your response in the body? So some people have like tingles in the neck, like a pins and needles, or they have their stomach crunch like this, or their heart, they say, my heart stopped, or like you just switch off. Now, when you are sitting at home, you do an exercise where you remember that part of the body and you release the tension in that part of your body. Has anyone ever told you guys how to do that?
No, if you can quickly just take us through the process.
So say I get a shoulder pain when I get a fright. I'm going to tense it up, count to like 6, and then release.
Okay. So
I can feel the release of the tension. You concentrate on the neck, you tense it, 6 seconds, and then you release it. So that when the incident happens and you're starting to take information about what is happening around you, taking the description of the suspects and the description of what is happening around you, you can then physically release the tension that is in that part that is preventing you from reacting or your brain to be working. Remember, your body responds to trauma, guys. It responds to trauma every single time something, whether you get a fright or where something slams, you're like, what was that?
Right.
You know how your body reacts to that. Now, in an incident, you said you don't want to go to a traffic light and find out how to be hijacked so you know how your body reacts. Your body is a map, guys. Your mind is a map. So some of us have had gotten a fright or heard like a tire burst or a pew-pew go off, and your reaction in that moment will tell you exactly how you will react when an incident takes place.
Okay.
That is your body's reaction. So now you acknowledge it, and now you work on changing your mindset for the self-defense. Okay, so not to your mental rehearsal, the conditions of the brain of the reaction, visualize different threat scenarios. So I've said here, scenario-based visualization. So being approached from behind, someone entering your home, conflict escalating verbally before physically. You can see something coming. So you have to be able to acknowledge, visualize that thing as jy kyk in your mind. Nee. If you imagine someone's coming from your back door, where are your exit points? So what I taught some of my community people is a lot of people sleep with a blanket and have shoes next to their bed. So you hear someone breaking in and you can hear gunshots. God forbid your family's on the other side of the house and you can hear gunshots. What do? Do you stand there and fight, or do you get out and go and find help? What will be
Or
your
talk
first
yourself
response? Yeah.
So yeah, so that is a very, very good question. You know, how prepared are you at the end of the day, I suppose, as well.
So
So
the best thing for
I've
you to
also
do
got,
is get out.
yeah,
Hear me, get out. You can come back to fight and surprise them from another direction. They're expecting you to come in from the house. But what if you come from
yeah,
outside? So your best thing is, and I know I've gotten flack for this, but this is my opinion, and this is what I would do in the situation. If I would hear a scuffle or a fight or pew pew in the other side of the house, I take my blanket, I put my shoes on, I take my blanket and my cell phone, and I go through, not where the burglar guards are where you open the window, you go through the middle. You go right through. That's why the blanket is there to protect you. Now you can
yeah,
contact help for help. You can get your neighbor's attention, and you can come around if you are armed to be able to assist them and surprise them because they don't know which direction you're coming from. That might be
yeah.
able to save your family.
So
So
I have a follow-up question with that, and this might be a little bit of a touchy subject. But when it comes to grape, right?
Yes.
And the reason I'm asking is because I once got in a very, very ugly confrontational situation with somebody over this topic. And the person that was talking to me, his advice, he was not in police or anything, just as a person, as a man, his advice was, when you find yourself in a situation where you are going to be raped, don't fight, let it happen, because if you fight, you could end your life. It could end your life, right?
Yes.
So I just when you say when you're in your house and people come in and get out, what would your advice be in a rape situation?
Okay, so how long is a piece of string? Every situation and every incident is different. If you do not see an escape route, if you do not see a way out, don't antagonize the perpetrator, whether it's hijacking, whether it's rape, whether it's anything else. If you see a way out, then yes. If not, I'm sorry to say, but that's where your trauma response for freeze is necessary, because it will safeguard your mind. The debriefing afterwards will have to be to assist you to get past through that trauma. And that's why being mentally prepared for certain things that might happen to you. And I'm not asking you guys to be like crazy, like panic for every little thing, but be realistic. We do have crime in this country. So be realistic and see any scenario that might happen to you. I would say that depending on your training, it absolutely depends on your training. So I'm trying to remember that saying. Give me a second. Under stress, you don't rise to the occasion, you sink to the level of your training.
yeah,
You hear that? Under stress, you don't rise to the occasion, you sink to the level of your training.
Okay.
So training, you have to be trained. And yes, you don't have to be a Navy SEAL or a task force member or any of those things. You as a citizen can protect yourself and your family members and your loved ones if you train. And like I said, before you start any of those, I need this weapon, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, you have to be mentally prepared. Because otherwise you're useless.
The topic of the weapons. I think we underestimate improvised weapons as well. I mean, if I've got a mag flashlight, that is a very, very good blunt weapon.
I won't say how I know.
Yeah, well, we'll not go that way. But I mean, something like a hairbrush. If you turn it around, it's got a good proper handle and it's got a rather pointy section that you can also utilize. So there's a lot of things that you can utilize as improvised weapons to kind of give you the edge over the,
A
the
bottle.
pure. A
Plastic
bottle.
bottle.
A bottle is a
Take
perfect
paper. Have you
one.
got A4 paper with you?
Yeah, make it a roll.
Roll it. Stab them in the eye, stab them in the throat, stab them in the stomach. It might not go through the skin, but it will take their wind away.
I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
So
So yeah,
your home is your domain, Rudolph.
yeah.
You know your home better than those people. Or even if they had inside information, you can use your home as a weapon. I'll throw the damn fish tank at them. Let my crawfish chow them. You know what I'm saying? I will use everything in my power. But that's me. Not
Yeah.
every person has their way of dealing with self-defense and what they would do in situations. And the only reason I know that I will do this and I'll do this is because I sit here day in and day out and I practice and practice and practice. What will I do? What if? I ask the question, what if? What if they would come here? What if they did this? What if they did that? And I literally work out scenarios in my head. And that is how you train your brain on how to attend to situations. However, are you looking for the right answers on how to defend yourself if you are not given the tools? So you can sit there and you practice this, I'll do this and I'll do this. However, is that the right way to react to it? Is that the right path for you to take to defend yourself? That is where you have to learn your capabilities and your inabilities. You have to acknowledge your weaknesses. I'm not fit. I cannot run. There's no way. I'll be dead by the time I get to the gate. Do you understand? So running is out for me. So I'm not going to say, okay, I'll run away. No, because that's not going to work for me. Another person might not have a pew-pew, so they won't even use that as, so what do they do in that situation? You have to be trained in the right way to defend in certain situations. But how do you do that? Because there's a multitude of incidents that can happen, a multitude of situations that can come in at your house. They can, how they enter your house, what they're doing there, what is the motive. So the best thing for you guys to do is do these exercises with the notion that you need training. You need training in every single situation that you can think of. Doesn't mean that that situation might happen or might not happen. They might do it differently, or then you have to adapt. Adapt and overcome. Adapt and overcome. It's the best way to do it. And also go and get yourself trained with Krav Maga or Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, or whatever you want to do. Even going to get boxing done. It's a form of self-defense, guys. You can choose any of this, but before you get to that point, get this right. Because otherwise, when the incident happens, you can be a kickboxing champion and Jean-Claude Van Damme's sister. It's not going to help you if you're not really here. Because if you freeze, what is that going to help you?
Yeah.
Muscle memory, brain memory. That trauma response. Yes, muscle memory is very important because your body will react in the incident the way you trained. What did I say? Under stress, you don't rise to the occasion, you sink to the level of your training.
Right.
So, yeah. Hi, Chunky. So, yeah. And then what I'd like to do now with you guys is something I call verbal self-defense. Have any of you ever heard of verbal self-defense?
I haven't.
Never. It's called verbal judo. It's where you use your voice to project over noise, over anything, for anyone to help you, for someone to get eyes on you, to maybe stop the perpetrator in his tracks. It doesn't always help, especially if they're high, but it's something in your arsenal. So I would tell you that when a lady screams high-pitched, they see fear. That's not going to help you. You have to bring it from your stomach and scream as loud as you can and say, F off. Or no, don't you dare. Do you understand? I see you. I see what you're doing. Now, does that work in a hijacking? No, no. Never ever do that in a hijacking. But if you're standing at an ATM, like you guys were saying earlier, I would say that is when you do it. And as far as I know, someone was on here saying that at an ATM they shouted no. The guy was so surprised that he walked away.
Right. I think that was
He ran
Umbrella
away.
that was telling us.
Yeah. So yes, there's a lot of techniques that you can use, and that is one of the stuff that you can have in your arsenal. Because the minute they see you angry as hell, you're alert and you're ready to go, it might give them pause for thought. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So
And they
that's
don't
something
expect
to,
that.
yeah. So yeah, back off, leave me alone, or you know, I don't want to say the swear words that I would use, but it starts with a P, and it rolls off the tongue very sweetly, and it's called piss off. Something a lady
Uh,
can say.
Floxy in the comments has shared those sentiments.
Yes, exactly. So Double D was away for work, and I had someone at my window, and I was so tired that night. I just couldn't be bothered. I said to him, "F off. I have a pew pew, and I will do that through the window and go back to sleep. I will leave your body till the morning." And it was quiet after that. So I think they got the message. So, I'm just saying.
So
I'm
Teaspoon
ready. What was
said
the other
earlier.
keyword?
Sorry. Teaspoon said earlier that he was hijacked and he thought he would fight, but he got a hiding. And then now he says, my 72-year-old mom headbutted a dude at 8 a.m. and dropped him. But you
Yeah.
were saying that will not work in a hijacking,
Okay.
right? So what do we do in a hijacking?
So the hijacking we will get to just now. I've got a few tips and golden rules that you have to follow.
All right.
I need you guys to understand that in an adrenaline surge that suspect is going through, any loud noise or anything that might spook them could and will let them act out.
Right.
So it could be your child or your passenger or even bystanders or yourself that might get injured. Do you understand? Let them take the car. It can be replaced. Your life cannot be replaced. Try and prevent the hijacking. There's ways, and I'll give you guys the tips just now. But if it's your turn, because that's what we call it in South Africa, it's jou beurt, nee. If it's your turn to get hijacked, and the suspects have now decided you are the target, and they want you, they will take you. Rather let them take the car and get out. Be as helpful as possible. Don't make sudden hand movements. Don't move your body fast. Don't shout. Speak very calmly and easily to them, because the minute they are spooked, they will be trigger happy.
Right.
Okay. So
Sometimes,
you guys know that.
I'm just remembering a story that someone once told me. This guy got hijacked, and what I'm saying is sometimes you get lucky like this. But this guy got hijacked, and the hijacker like kind of kidnapped him for the night. You know, they did their rounds, they went around, they were drinking at one spot and all the things. At the end of the night, dropped him off somewhere, but took the car.
Yes.
But yeah, he was just kind of taken on a joyride, but no harm came to him.
Yeah.
So
He's lucky.
yeah, that's lucky.
Especially if they weren't wearing any masks and he could identify them.
Yeah.
That's very, very unusual. And he is extremely lucky, and he should pray to one living
Yeah.
God and say thank you, to be honest.
Yeah. Right.
That's
I see here also just that Chunky said, Mitch, check my comments. I think he's referring to the moment you project that you will resist, it is a deterrent. Are you talking about that, Chunky? Right, yeah, that was very lucky. But again, I mean, I can only be as accurate as or as truthful as he was. So
yeah,
it
no,
does.
absolutely. Look, I must tell you, there are a multitude of things that you can do, and every incident is different, like I explained to you guys. But your main objective is to get out of there alive. If you can prevent the crime, great. But if it's imminent or it's happening at that moment, if you do not see an escape, rather not, don't antagonize them. Oh, yes, absolutely. ATM and street robberies, Chunky. That's what I'm saying. You do verbal judo, and it's a deterrent because they're not used to people being intimidated by them. But if you're looking at hijackings, the stress levels for that suspect is sky high. And most of the time, they're so high as anything. And yeah, any sudden movements might have them react the way that you don't want them to.
Right.
So yeah.
So
Floxy has also made she's asked a question, what do you do when they want to take you with them? So
Okay.
is there certain guidelines to follow, to make it as difficult as possible for them not to take you along?
Okay, so I have to put this out there. Whatever I say I would do is not necessarily what you should do. And the reason I'm saying that is I would fight like hell because, like I said to Ellie, it's very unlikely that you come home. Do you understand? If they want to take you with them.
Yeah.
If you are out of the car and they want to take the car, let them go, let them be safe. If they want to take you with the car, I will have to fight. I'm sorry. Then I'll rather there before I get raped and other bad things might happen to me. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. That's what I would do in that situation. But like I said to you guys earlier, it is up to you and your responsibility to say where you draw the line in the sand. Do you see an escape? Will it help or will it worsen it? So that's just my opinion. That is what I would do. Please don't hold me to it and say, yeah, but Savage Revenge said I must do this. No.
Yeah.
In that situation, I will fight hands, teeth. I will throw the car at them if I could. You understand?
Because the consequences of you being taken will be much worse than the consequences of resisting them right there and then. So that's your go-to. Let's call it the default. Yeah.
So that's where you come. You come with your training and preparing mentally for certain situations. But there might be a situation that you did not expect. Like I explained to you guys, there's always incidents and the modus operandi or something changes in what you thought could happen. How do you deal with that then? Those breathing exercises, grounding yourself, taking a moment and noticing everything that is happening around you. By doing that, not only are you getting information and you're trying to remember it so you can relay it later, but it also puts you in a moment of clarity to see where is your exit, how do you get out of this, and maybe how to react in that situation. So I would.
You just like stay calm and critically assess instead of just like panicking.
Absolutely.
And
critical thinking. A lot of people don't understand what critical thinking is. And they know for business and for anything like that. But in self-defense, your critical thinking is what can keep you alive. And that's why I tell you guys, train this before you train these.
Right.
It's the best thing for you because like I said, you can be G.I. Jane. If you are not mentally prepared for something that's coming, you might not be able to react anyway.
Right.
So yeah. So before we continue, there must be an understanding that each incident has its own merits, like I said. And there is no quick fix or exact science on what will work and what won't work.
Right.
Right. You have to assess each situation and you will have only a few moments to decide what your recourse will be. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of situational awareness.
Yeah.
It's not awareness, it's awareness. All right. So I use Cooper's code. All right. It's a simple color-coded system developed by Colonel Jeff Cooper to help the people understand and manage their level of awareness. Okay. So you've got white, where you are totally unaware. So like say you're sleeping. All right. Then you've got yellow, relaxed but alert. So you're watching TV and you hear a noise outside, right? Orange, after you heard that noise, you now get up and go and investigate what's going on. Red is where you've seen the threat and they are ready to break into your house. Now you're alert. Now you look for weapons or what you can use, where you can hide, phoning police officers or security, pressing the panic or anything like that. And then you've got black. Now the Cooper's Code was developed with only 4 colors, which was the white, yellow, orange, and red. But in modern self-defense strategies, they've added a 5th one, which is black. Now the black is the panic state, unable to react effectively. They are now in their house and you do not know which way to go. You don't know what to do. You don't know. You are panicking. Fight, flight, freeze. All right. So you don't want to get to black because that is where you cannot defend yourself. So when there is red, you have to be reactive. You have to have the alertness to try and not just assess the situation, but get out of that situation. Like I said to you guys, they're coming in on one side, I jump out the window through the other side. Let them, they want the house, they can have it. See if my backup arrives, then you're screwed. Do you understand?
Right.
Don't be there for them to use you as a bargaining tool.
Right.
You understand? So if you can prevent the actual physical altercation with them, do it. Rather lose the battle than lose the war. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
Live to fight another day. These are all little things that you can, state yourself. If you're alone at home with your kids, and they break in the dining room, and the kids are in the room, you run not to your room, but to the kids' room. You close the door. You can put anything in front of the door to try and stop them and prevent them from coming in. Go through the window. Put the what's name through the blanket in front of you. Jump through it. Then help your kids out and make a break for it. As a mom, you cannot worry while you are fighting that what if they get to my kids. Train your children what to do in scenarios like that so they know what to do.
Right.
Because you, especially when for hijackings, don't put the fear of God into your children. Let's be honest. But sort of prepare them, like if mommy says this, then do this. So I'm not a lacquer mom. I'm not lacquer in the head. So I taught my children alert 1, alert 2, alert 3, alert 4. So we had bulletproofs in the car. When I say alert 1, they will just be behind the seat. If I say alert 2, they put the bulletproofs over themselves and hide behind the seat. Alert 3 was get out of the vehicle and look for help. Alert 4, keep running, don't look back. Go to the nearest police station or approach a police officer or a granny. I said to him, doesn't matter who, a granny. Approach a granny, an old woman or a grandpa, because they will always help the little ones, won't they? So
that's a very interesting philosophy, but yes, you're right.
Yeah. So those 4 alerts I taught my kids from a young age. So, if I am quite honest with you, I think most people's fear, like Cloxy's saying, it's her biggest fear of her kids being in the car while you are being hijacked. There is no easy way through it. However, I have found, and through experiences in the police, and I think Chunky can also tell you, is that, yes, creating a stronghold, a cocoon, you're right. So if that should happen, and I've seen in the industry what has worked, what has not worked, and sometimes it didn't work, is that once you've got a child in the back, the minute they try and hijack you and they open your door, not before they open the door, because you can still use that car as a weapon and drive over the fuckers. It's a weapon, people. Right. Anyway, once they've opened the door and they can get to you and your child, switch off the ignition, take the keys out, and then jump out. And then use that and say, Oh, you can have my car, Baba. No problem. Take it. Son, take it. But here's the keys. If you want to take it, let me get my child out. Yeah, you can have the car. You can. My wallet is there. My cell phone is there. I've got cash there. Take it. You can even have my jewelry. But let me just take my child. If you take my phone, I can't phone police anyway. But calmly, not in a reactive or defensive way. They must know they have the upper hand. Use it as a bargaining chip.
Right.
Get your child
That's
out.
clever. That's clever.
Yeah.
Because it is a
So-
fear. Even for us, it's a fear.
Absolutely.
And one thing that is also very scary, and I know that they were investigating a ring here in Pinetown and in Durban a while back, and was abductions, child
Yes.
abductions. So one of the
Yes.
things that we taught our kids right away was the locking of the legs, to drop and lock the legs, and then to scream.
Yeah.
Because that's what was being taught at the time. It seemed very effective. So, but it's extremely scary.
So we in South Africa and some countries have been desensitized to crime. So screaming loudly and shrieking, yes, it does put eyes on you, but how many people will actually interfere? How many times have we heard where people don't stop on the side of the road for fear of retribution, or that you are the actual perpetrator? Or if the child is screaming, it could be a parent and the child's throwing a tantrum. So what do you teach your children to do in that situation except just shout?
Well, we taught them the locking of the legs. I don't know if you know what that is, when they drop and lock the legs.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. That helps. So there's various things that you can do with your kids. I taught my kids to throat punch.
Okay.
So it's not just a punch or you do this and you do that.
Go for
You
the
actually
white
take
off,
this part here. Can you guys touch your necks? Feel that?
Yeah,
It's
the
movement.
cartilage. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you punch it hard enough from the side, you dislocate it and they can't breathe.
Oh,
Yeah. But it's knowing that, and how much
wow.
aware that's
So
critical.
if you can't do it by punching it, grab hold of it and as hard as possible, crush it and then pull
Yeah.
it. So I unfortunately had an incident where I had to make use of that. I can tell you it does work.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, look, everything I'm teaching you guys can help, or it might not help in a certain situation. The best thing is rather to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Absolutely.
And, especially for a child, teach them to fight and don't stop fighting till you get away.
Right.
It's, I feel that it's imperative that kids understand that don't give up. Don't give
Yeah.
up. We hear about these little ones that have been taken and found in a field somewhere on a lot of occasions, and it's very sad. And you have to ask yourself the question, did the parents have that discussion, or did they just not want to talk about it because it's a taboo conversation, or rather not speak of it, then it won't happen? Or was it a question of culture or beliefs, that believes it won't happen to my child or it won't happen to them because they are clever, they know not to go with a stranger? You have to ask yourself that question. Are you willing to take the chance that your child does not know what to do in a situation? That's I've taught my children violence, and I'm proud of it.
And as you should. They are the victims, and they need to know that they are capable of obviously helping themselves to a extent. And I think it's important. I think that is, as a parent, it is of crucial importance that you need to educate your children as well.
Absolutely 100%. Absolutely 100%. My kids could pew pew from the age of 5, and I was ridiculed. And Chunky can tell you, people were like, why are you teaching your children, I hate pew-pews, and how could you do that? And it's teaching them this and it's teaching them. No. I'm teaching them respect for something that if their friends come over and they say, oh, I hear your mom or your dad has got a pew-pew, can you show us? They have enough respect saying, no, sorry, I won't show you until such time as my mom is home or the pew-pew is safe. They knew how to make it safe, they knew how to clean it, they knew how to load it, they knew how to fire it. It takes the inquisitiveness away, and it teaches them, especially because kids, when they are so young and they hear that loud bang, they kind of, it's like they realize the severity of it when if it's being used, and it not just the inquisitive, it gives them a certain amount of respect that this is dangerous, and they will now be able to say, okay, hold on a second, this is not for everyone, only certain people that have been trained, or when my mom is there or when my dad is there, then we can show them. We can even approach the parents and ask them if they are wanting for us to do some safety training with them, and maybe taking them to the backyard and doing pellet guns. I got lambasted by kids that came over for a sleepover, and they had plastic guns, you know, the ones that shoots water. And two of the parents actually wanted to take me to the police station because I'm teaching them how to use firearms.
And look, I understand where they come from, but I mean, the bigger picture, you're actually doing that child injustice.
You know what? At the end of the day, yes, I suppose it's desensitizing them to the pew-pew lifestyle, a plastic water pistol. But we live in a country where it's so widely available, not just legally, but illegally. Do you really want them to be a point where they don't understand and they cannot defend themselves? You have to weigh up the pros and cons.
We can also argue, if you're unfamiliar with the firearm, the chances are that you'll hurt yourself or maybe shoot yourself, or somebody else is actually higher than actually being used as a self-defense mechanism.
Absolutely.
So knowing the skills, and I just see it as a life skill, because I mean, you get taught, from a young age. Well, certainly I was in that fortunate position that wherever you point that pew is potentially something that you can kill. So
and that's what I taught with my kids with the plastic firearms, the toy guns.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely, 100%. I made sure that they know never to point. But water pistols, unfortunately, it means nothing if you shoot on someone's head or to the side. It doesn't do anything. Or the Nerf guns. I don't know if you guys know Nerf guns. So it's but like I said, it's each to their own. I'm one of those mothers that believe violence fixes everything. Your PC doesn't work, you kick it, it works. You slap your TV and it works. So, that's me. So, just to get back to what we were discussing, Cooper's Code now. You have to be in a certain alert code for you to be able to react. So I'm going to give you a stat that is very scary. So a lot of people who've done surveys on crimes and spoken to victims and stuff has actually asked them, what were you doing at the time when the incident happened? And did you know, even out in public, most South Africans were on white or yellow, and white is for when you're sleeping. That's the
that's an eye-opener.
Hey, AJ.
Completely unaware of what's going on around them.
Yeah, that's an eye-opener.
That's scary, guys. That is scary. So the more people become situationally aware, the better for themselves, like I said, not everything will stop it. If they want it, they'll do it. Whether they're so hard that they don't even realize that you're alert enough to defend yourself or anything like that, it might happen.
Right. But just observing, you give yourself, you might observe something that is, you could notice something is off, and change your situation immediately. You could walk in a different direction. You could walk to a crowd or into a store or take a different turn in your car. Just being aware can already do so much.
So people that, and like Chunky was saying, when not in your safe place, you must always assess where the next possible attack may come from. Absolutely. And these are the mental exercises that I was explaining to you guys to do, is to, if you're walking in a mall, where's the nearest exit? Where's the cover? Where's concealment? You guys know the difference between cover and concealment?
So cover would be something like a safe place to hide behind. Let's say it's like a concrete counter or something of that nature. And conceal is just to hide yourself, from
they can't
whatever.
see, but a pew might get through.
Yes.
So cover is something that blocks, and concealment is just they can't see you. So, you need to acknowledge all of those things. Pillars, like I said to you guys, the table, the pew might be able to go through it if it's wood. So find a wall to be behind. I would, your alert level when you are leaving your home has to be orange. So I don't know if you guys remember the colors. So orange is your specific alert. You've identified a potential threat or something feels off. Okay. You're watching a person or situation more closely. You may be planning a response, example, crossing the street, preparing to leave. Your radar is up. Now you're evaluating if it's a threat or not.
Right.
You hear what I'm saying? All of that. So there's different scenarios in your threat level orange. The reason I'm saying threat level orange is because crime is so high and prevalent. Like we said, 1.8 million cases reported, contact crimes reported from the year 2023 to 2024 financial year. Okay. That is a lot, guys. And we're not even talking about the other 54.4% or 51.4% that wasn't reported, or the 49% that wasn't reported. We need to remember that when we do go out, and this thing of it might not happen to me or it won't happen to me, it's and complacency. It's killing people. It's absolutely making you a victim, 100%. And it's not that we want to blame the victim. Like I said earlier about the grape and the SA victims or domestic violence victims. You need to remember that I'm not victim blaming. I'm saying it could have been prevented if you had maybe done this and this and this and this. Do you understand? Like Chunky says, when you stop at robots, play the scenarios in your head. What if something happens at this robot? Exactly my point. And this is how you practice your brain from going through certain situations and being able to react.
So I've just got a follow-up question regarding that as well. Do you play mind games with yourself to say, well, okay, I've seen this car, maybe it's a white BMW, for instance, and the number plate is whatever. Do you try to recall that, let's say 5 or 10 or maybe half an hour later?
Repeat. See the number in your mind. See the car in your mind. And eventually it will become second nature and you'll remember a registration number. So November Delta 138947, it's a Toyota Corolla, was the first vehicle I ever tested.
Okay.
That was 22 years ago, 23 years ago.
And you still remember that? That's impressive.
No, it's more than that because I've been 10 years in the security industry. So I would say about 28, 29 years. Yeah. I still remember that registration number. So, guys, now, lately, it's more and more difficult to remember because of my age and because of, that other thing. All right, where I get hot and stuff. Yeah. And sweat like I've been paid to. there's a brain fog, isn't there? So we had a certain age where some of us don't remember. So we have to work a little harder, and we have to practice more and more and more in order for our brain to stay caught up on the information. So practice. Make a game with your kids. If they must tell you where's a Kia, where's a BMW, what color, and registration numbers, and how many people are in the vehicle. So I tested my middle son the other day. We went to recover a hijacked vehicle, and we drove past a vehicle, and I said, okay, how many people were in that car? What color was it? And did you see at least some of the registration? He couldn't tell me any of it. And I smacked him upside the head. Like, yeah, you see,
Like
what is your excuse? I'm old and blind. Okay, what is your excuse? So, yeah, now he's practicing it again. So, I don't know. Yeah, so when you're going out, guys, level orange alert. Not yellow, not white, orange. Be prepared. Be observant. Now, once you've got your alert levels to a certain point, enhancing your situational awareness, there are different decision-making frameworks like the OODA loop. Remember I said to you, you have to assess the situation and then decide what your recourse is, what your reaction is going to be, how you're going to, is there a way out? Can you fight them, or should you just let it happen? Okay, so the OODA loop or the SLAM method is what most policing, military, and security guys use in an event of an incident. So your OODA loop is observe, orient, decide, act. Okay, your SLAM is stop, look, assess, manage. Do you see where I'm going with that? So you assess the situation, you recognize distractions, you always have an exit plan, and you regularly scan surroundings for risks. And if you are trained and your brain is ready and you're physically ready, your body is ready, that OODA loop becomes shortened. Your SLAM method becomes shortened because you're already alert, you're already recognizing the threats, you're already seeing where the exits and entrances are, where your escape route is, where your cover is. Okay, so by practicing all of this when you're walking around your everyday life, sitting at home watching TV, people tell me that, but I'm so into the TV, I can even hear my spouse speaking to me or my child speaking to me because I'm so enthralled in the TV. You have to teach yourself to listen what's going on around you while watching TV. And I know it's hard, especially for men because they can't multitask. So, yeah, you have to try and tell your kids to when they go play outside, when you tell them to go play outside, or if someone's on another phone call while you're on a live, like they are now. I've been listening to what they're saying while I've been on the live and speaking to you guys. And it takes time and it takes practice to be able to do that. It's very hard. But you have to be able to differentiate between risk and just a normal noise. Or seeing someone's body movements, taking your gut feeling, and putting that over into a threat assessment. Okay, so that's where the OODA loop and the SLAM method comes from. Okay, let's see, where are we? Are we still good?
We're still good.
We're still good. Does anybody have any questions maybe in the comments before we maybe move on to the next one? Does anybody have any specific questions? I also just want to say thank you everybody for gifting. I see you. I don't want to interrupt our gift, but when she's explaining things, but I do see you and thank you very much for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So when you are observing, what senses do you guys use?
So if you're observing, obviously your eyes, you can see. I suppose your ears to listen. So I take it, I'm going to say it now, the woman has got the sixth sense, the intuition. That probably comes into place as well. Your smell, taste and touch. So those are the
Absolutely.
five.
All five senses. Because,
Yeah.
like, you watch your surroundings carefully, listen for unusual sounds of conversation, identify anything off putting. I entered a home where we had a housebreaking in progress. And I did not hear the person, I did not see the person, but man, I could smell them. It alerted me to the fact that there was someone around the corner. I could smell them. And no, my
Yeah.
senses are not so in tuned. It was just take notice of anything that's different from the norm. Anything different from the norm. If you are walking into a restaurant or a pub or a party or a birthday party, you walk in and you can feel the atmosphere. You know whether or not you're welcome or not. Have you guys ever experienced that? That is
Yeah.
your gut. Listen to it. Then once you feel that gut feeling, watch people's eye movements, body movements, their way of speaking, every single thing that they are doing at that moment. The smell. Do they have alcohol on their breath? Do they have pinpointed eyes or pupils?
Rooted,
Are
yeah.
they high? Are they drunk? Are they aggressive? You can tell when someone's aggressive. All right. You can
Right.
tell when someone is going to do the eye movement. People say eyes are the windows to soul. That's no BS. It really is, because you can tell when someone's going to make a move by looking into their eyes. I am not kidding you. They will have an eye movement either to the bottom left or to the upper right when they are going to make a move. It's slight. Sometimes people are so trained that it's slight, but it's there. Now, anyone that has done boxing or you know, karate or any martial arts will tell you they wait for that movement. Even sometimes they go from left to right. They have that look in their eye that, okay, now it's going to happen. And that is what you're
So
looking
bottom
for.
left or top right? I suppose my camera is now showing
But
the
it's so slight. It's like it's not like actually looking up or looking down. No, it's just or that it's a second of them not the eye not reaching you. Do you understand what
Okay.
I'm saying to you? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they're looking through you. That's when you know something's going to happen.
Okay.
So
So
take that
Yes,
into
I just want to
consideration.
ask, yeah, I saw, sorry, Rudolph, but I just want to, Chunky said, yeah, 90% of the time your gut feeling is right. Is that factual? Is that a
That is
fact?
factual, absolutely factual. You can ask Chunky. There's been a couple of times where some of the guys in my unit did not pick it up, and I would tell them, "Be awake tonight. Be awake tonight. Be awake tonight." Or when we're going into a situation where we had been backup for each other. Myself and Chunky worked together in the industry. I would tell him, okay, watch this, see that. We communicate the whole time. He will, whatever he picks up, he will tell me. That way we are alerted to any threat that might come our way. Your peripheral vision, and I think he mentioned earlier the peripheral vision, is extremely important. So when you're going to defend yourself, do not close one eye or both. Do not do that, because you cannot see any threat coming from the side. If you take your hand like this and you put it in front of your face and you move to the side, you can practice how far you can see. Move your finger up and down, see how far you can see the movement. That is your peripheral vision, and you can actually train it to go further and further and further. So even this side, see, I'm almost behind my ear on this one, but I can see the movement. So any threat that comes from any other side, you will be able to pick it up. Any threat.
Okay.
So you
So
can make movement, move away or turn around or face your issue, you know?
So I just want to acknowledge a question that was also asked, from Tazzy. She
Yeah.
was asking about the spousal grape. Is it allowed, or how do you treat that? So,
Grape is grape, no is no. Doesn't matter who
yeah,
it is. Do not ever blame yourself for that situation. No is no.
Yeah.
I cannot. I
Because
actually
the
wanted to say
child
something
doesn't
now, and I
have
had to stop
ownership.
myself.
Yeah. No is still no.
No is
Yeah.
no.
The consent is not given. Yeah.
And it's sad because in a lot of cultures, men see that as not just as their wife, they will see you as their property, their
Right.
commodity. And the amount of times that domestic violence victims blame themselves. Yeah, I shouldn't have said anything. I should have made sure the kitchen was clean. I should have done this, or I should have done that. It is scary. But to blame the victim on certain, it's very, very hard because the you as your family member say, why don't you leave that person? Why don't you leave them? I I was married before, and the one thing I can tell you, even him going to work, the minute he walked out that door and closed the door, you would think I'd feel relief. I felt like my breath was away. I couldn't breathe. What am I going to do? Am I going to do something wrong? What? It was the most anxious time of my life. And then when he comes back, it was doubling. It was just intense. So, um, in the end of the day, grape and everything else, don't ask a victim why they haven't left because they can't. They'll leave when they're ready. You cannot force someone to leave.
And in fact, if you or I would go so far as to say, sorry, I just want to add here, Savage, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but if you are trying to be supportive towards a victim of domestic abuse and you are trying to, because there needs to be trust. A victim is not going to confide in anybody because there is shame and all kinds of things attached to that.
Absolutely,
So,
100%.
right. And so if you are going to ask them questions like, but why didn't you leave and things like that, you are actually pushing them further away. You are not gaining trust. You are not
100%.
trusting the victim.
100%. They feel so guilty and so like, okay, maybe my husband was right. The world out there is bad and he's good.
Right.
That has happened. It has happened. You can ask Chunky. He has worked with us at, there are ways to assist people who've gone through trauma. Like I said to you guys, the SAPS have got standing orders on what to do for domestic violence, for any trauma situation. They have chaplains on staff that can assist you with treatment, for the trauma. And that's the best thing you can do for them is just give them a way forward, a way out, without pushing them. Say, you know
Right.
what? If you want to stay, I'm here for you. If you want to leave, here's the information. Let
Right.
them get used to it. What is this? Sorry, I just want to see what do you do if you are stopped by policemen and they are aggressive with you. So I'm going to be honest with you guys now. If you are stopped by a police officer that is aggressive, you have to be calm. Fight it another day because he will use his power to do whatever he feels. Like if he wants to arrest you for the night and keep you in the tank, he'll do that. What do you do? Especially if you've had a drink. You say, no, you were belligerent, you were drunk in public or disturbing the peace, failing to adhere to a police officer's instruction. There are the multitude of charges that they can put on you. Do you understand? I would just be calm. Thank you, officer. No, officer, I apologize profusely. You know what? You're right. I respect you. I respect your rank. I respect your uniform. Whatever you need from me. Then try and record it if you can. Once that is done, then you go to ICD or IPID and you report it. Put in a statement. Let them deal with him. Because at that moment, and I'm not saying it's all police officers, please, there are so many hardworking police officers still in the service that is doing their thing every single day. So I'm talking about the extreme situations of police officers that are not there for the right reasons. Yes, like Chunky says, don't match the intensity. You have to de-escalate the situation. You need to remember something. there does come a form of power with the appointment certificate and the uniform. You need to remember that. You have to try and stop it from going further and making the situation worse, de-escalating it. You cannot escalate it. You have to de-escalate. And a lot of people say the job, but I won't allow someone to speak like it. Let them. You do not want that situation to deal with in the morning.
No.
And if you fail to adhere to a police officer's instruction, that is a charge. It's 6 months imprisonment or 20,000 rand fine. You've got a record now. You have a job.
Hey, Sai, I see you.
You understand, guys? There's
Rather
be
comply.
proportionate. Rather live to fight another day. That's my honest opinion. That's my opinion. That's what I would do. That's what I have done. Because ever since I've left the police, I don't know if I attract shit or whatever, but it follows me. Especially when I've got a very heavy lead foot. Drive it like you stole it.
Yeah.
Rev it like a rental. That's my problem. So, just don't match the intensity. Don't fight back. Thank you. No, thank you. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. That's
Be
it.
respectful. Yeah.
Be respectful. Get yourself out of that situation. Then the next day, you can do what you need to do. Contact that station commander. Contact the Independent Complaints Directorate. All of these places that can assist you in fighting the situation. But I wouldn't intensify it. I wouldn't escalate it at all. At all. What did Chunky keeps saying, look. So I'm looking now. Policemen run on adrenaline.
Yep. Oh, no.
Policemen run on adrenaline a lot of the time, especially on the vehicle stops after dark. Absolutely. So that's one thing I must tell you guys. So there is a complaint that was given against me a while back when I was still in the police for drawing my firearm when stopping a vehicle. My firearm was drawn. It was not pointing at the person. And I need you guys to understand that some police officers want to go home to their family at the end of the shift.
Yeah.
I don't know you. Neither does that police officer. He doesn't know you. He doesn't know what type of person you are. He doesn't know your background. He doesn't know if you are wanted. He doesn't know if you're a murderer. He doesn't know if you're an asshole. Okay. You cannot. So I'm looking at you, Rudolph. I'm saying that you are a unicorn with a matching bank balance. How do I know? By looking at you.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
So you can't expect a police officer to have a magic ball.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So take it. Is he dangerous? Maybe, or no, or yes. The magic 8-ball. You don't have that.
Right.
So please, guys, respect a police officer. Some of them just want to get home to their families at the end of the night.
So I see here that Melody asked, what if you do everything they say you must do and they physically hurt you?
I'm going to be honest with you. In my situation will be different to your situation because I'll throw the legalese at them, firstly. And secondly, I might not be able to stop myself from reacting. But my advice to you is live to fight another day. I'm being dead serious. Live to fight another day. Make sure that you are, if they do hurt you, that you get a J88 from an adjacent police station. Go to the doctor, record all your injuries, open up a case. Open the docket, and if that police officer refuses to open up a docket because it's not at his station, then you quote Section 13 of the Police Act here, where a police officer is duty bound to assist a citizen of this country if a crime has been committed. Okay, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think part of parcel of the bigger problem is we as the general public do not know our rights. I think that is part and parcel of our biggest issues.
Yes, absolutely. But in saying that, some people who do know their rights, is, I know my rights, I know, they're escalating the situation. Know your rights, keep them to yourself, and use it against them at the right time. At the right time. In the end of the day, I promise you, there are people in the industry, whether it's security or police, military, that will use their power against you and find something to charge you with. Do you understand?
I do.
Yeah.
Fight another day. Live to fight another day, guys. Honestly. Those members will eventually be rooted out. There are some changes with Mr. Cameron and Mr. Mkonazi. We know what's happening in KZN. There's a lot of stuff that's happening. Give the good cops a break. Let the bad ones suffer, but do it the right way. The problem is that if you retaliate, they have now a charge of assault against police officer against you. And they'll say that was them defending themselves to you. You were belligerent, you were disturbing the peace, you were violent, you were swearing, and they used the necessary force to effect the arrest. Now you've got a criminal case against you.
I think what Chunky has also mentioned there, apply the law, don't state it. I think that is crucial.
100%. 100%. Absolutely, Chunky. So, yeah, for me, it's just, that's my opinion. And like I said to you guys, I don't know everything.
No, sure, but
I tell my husband that I do, and he needs to say But yeah, for me, that's just it's just a given. Just do what you need to do to get out of the situation, face the problem tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But cops go to the pub with their firearms. If you actually see them do that, you're more than welcome to complain about it. But some of them don't get drunk. And if there's an incident, you'll be the first one to call them, that same guy that you saw in the pub, for help. I'm just saying. Two sides of a coin, guys. You have to remember something, that we're all human. I don't condone it. Please don't get me wrong. But I've seen some police officers that have gone to a braai, and there were some drinks, and he was armed, and the people came into the yard to try and do a home invasion by the braai because everyone's not on alert, and he actually defended them to the point where all the suspects were arrested. I'm just saying, each to their own, guys. There was just South Africa that said,
Yeah.
So then report them, son. You have to report them, because otherwise you're complacent. You're not doing something about it. That's the thing about South Africans. We will complain about it, but we won't do anything about it. We don't do anything. It's all talk and no action. Do something about it. If you feel that someone's life is in danger by the actions of that police officer, you need to report it, because one day that might turn into something serious.
Mitch, look up again.
Partying or not, it's a way of life to protect. 100%. I was never off duty. Never. I was always alert. I was always there trying to figure out where's my next threat coming from. Unfortunately, that's part of PTSD. So, alertness. So, yeah.
Is there a risk that it can become like paranoia? You know, that you physically looking for the thing that's around the bush that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right, I was going to ask about that too. Sorry, Savage, because my husband has PTSD from a hijacking that happened many years ago. And all these things, these awareness things, he is always in that state. Always.
So what happens with that being always in that state is your brain starts, sorry guys, just give me a second, my ass is numb. So when you are in that hyper alert state all the time, what happens is your brain shuts down. It's had enough. Then you become worse. Your symptoms become worse. Your reaction is worse. Your something small would happen and it's a complete balls up. You blow up. That's what's going to happen if he's continuously in that hyper alertness
Right.
on code red. If you're on code red 24/7, you will get blood pressure problems. You will get the issues. You can become a threat to yourself or others. And I'm
Right.
being dead serious now because I am that person. I did
Right.
that. So it's not coming from a place of judgment. It's coming from a
Yeah,
place
no, of
get help.
course. And I mean, I can agree with you. I can see that he has a thin thread, little things has got him on edge, or I can see exactly what you're saying. I can see that in his behavior because
Yeah.
when he
And
leaves the house,
yeah,
he's in it. And when we lock up at night and we go to bed, before he goes to sleep, he is in that. He's listening. He's aware all the time.
guaranteed he's not relaxing though. He's not under white code. He's not sleeping
No.
completely because
No.
every little sound will wake him, everything like that. So
Yeah, and he does feel always tired because he never is fully resting. So
yeah. And how much of the body of your mind and body can take that? How long before it shuts down?
right.
Then you can't
But
help your family.
exactly. But I just wanted to point that out because what Rudolph said is because if don't you because it's almost like you're in that if you like you said you start looking for the thing behind the bush. You're
Yes.
constantly in that state. I guess not to that degree, but to a degree. Code Orange. Code Orange is semi-healthy, right? That just keeps
Yeah,
you
so
safe.
only
Right?
when you leave look, your code white is when you're sleeping. You're supposed to get rest. Your mind needs to rest. Your body needs to rest. But when I said that white and yellow, incidents where people are out in public and they're white and yellow. But when you're in your own home and you're secured with burglar guards and burglar gates, cameras, alarm system, whatever you've done to secure you and your family, you need to be able to switch off because you've done what needed to be done. Your brain needs to now acknowledge, okay, I've done what needed to be done. Early warning systems, dogs, your cameras is AI. If there's movement, it will make an alarm on your phone. There's always little things that you can do, especially people that are hyper alert. There are little things that that will give them peace of mind, slowly but surely. Do you understand? That will bring them back down where they can be white while they're sleeping, can be yellow while they're sitting and enjoying time with their family, having dinner or watching TV or watching a movie. It takes practice. It takes absolute practice.
Right, that is quite interesting now because as we're learning how to become aware, we also need to learn to become unaware, to switch off.
Yes,
So
absolutely. So
right.
you have to decide. How do I say this? How much security is enough for you to have peace of mind? That's your responsibility to decide what is putting extra little cash in to put cameras up, to put AI on your cameras, to have an alarm system or beams in your yard to give you those early warning systems. Going out in the mornings, checking your cameras, going out, walking down to your gate, seeing who's loitering around, acknowledging what they're wearing. Practice that. Remember what I said to you when the person is hyper alertness or when you're in a state, you have to ground yourself so that you can retain information, correct? He needs to do grounding exercises, breathing exercises to bring him out of that hyper state. The only way he's going to do that is like sitting at home and you're watching TV. Tell him, okay, how many photos on the wall? 5. How many TVs in the house? 2. How many blue cups do we have? 3. Now he's taking himself out of that hyper alertness and he's grounding himself. He's giving the brain something else to work out, another puzzle, another riddle, something that he needs to think about other than the hyper alertness. And he needs to practice that on a daily basis. It doesn't stop just willy-nilly. Oh, you went for therapy? It's not going to stop until you learn how to ground
That's
yourself.
the thing, though. That's exactly it. It's he's been on meds and whatever, and it's basically just being treated. It's not
The
helping.
symptoms are treated, but the cause is not.
Exactly. Yeah.
So he needs to also do exercises. Yes, do the alert levels. Check where all of these is. Now that he's identified them, ask him to speak to you about the stuff that he's identified.
There's
Now
a
he's
difference.
opening up, he's talking about it, he's getting it out, the information is flowing, and he's actually thinking about it in a scientific way instead of an emotional way.
Right.
That's what I do. Like I said, I'm not a psychiatrist, but that's what's worked for me. Chunky
Right.
knows me for many years. He knows what I've been through in the SAP and in the security industry. He knows my personal life. He knows me for 20 odd years. And when I tell you those are the certain things that helped me, but might not have helped Chunky, I'm being serious. It takes practice to find the right thing for you. How much security is enough to give peace of mind? How much grounding does it take? How much breathing exercises does it take to get him to a point where he can relax?
Also,
yes, sorry.
you know, we've had the session with Teaspoon a couple of weeks ago about the theater of the mind.
Absolutely, 100%.
That could work.
That's exactly what I wanted to mention now.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, it's great. It means that we're all on the same page. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So, like I said,
that is such a powerful tool. If you can apply it. But yeah.
The thing that Teaspoon taught me is what's so scary is you guys know what frame of mind I was when I started with Teaspoon on his lives. Even though I know what to do, here I am, I'm teaching you guys about trauma and PTSD. Yeah. I know what to do, but it's easier to give advice than take it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So what Teaspoon has taught us is to acknowledge where it comes from, acknowledge the anger, acknowledge the issue. It's from putting it behind us that the subconscious is smacking the whole time. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Right.
So when the incident happens, when you're on a hyper alertness, I can guarantee you he won't be able to respond. He will either go into freeze or flight. And tell him that. So he will remember that if I don't do something and I don't do these exercises, he might not be able to help. It's not to shame him into it. It's to help him understand scientifically where his emotions will be if another incident should happen.
Right. And then I just want to point out too that Chunky said there is a difference between paranoia and hyper alertness.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you know what the difference is between paranoia and hyper alertness?
No.
So paranoia is where you're hearing sounds that isn't there, seeing things that isn't there.
Okay.
Hyper alertness.
Okay.
Responding to the ones.
Is seeing a threat in everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see the difference?
Okay. Yes, I do see the difference.
Yeah, so that is what Chunky is saying now. Look at the saying. When there is a shooting, a cop will always run towards the shooting and the other people will run away. Same like firefighters, they will run into the fire and everybody else runs out. So that didn't come easy. I can tell you that much. Not everyone is born to just be Rambo or run to where where your first response will be is to get the hell out of the way and out of the danger. You have to teach yourself muscle memory here and muscle memory in your body in order for you to run towards the problem instead of away. It takes practice, guys. It's not going to happen overnight. You have to practice. And some of the tips I'm going to give you guys today and homework, I'm giving you homework.
Yay, I like it when we get homework. I don't know about you, Rudolph. Do you like it when we get homework?
Yeah, it keeps it interesting.
So I will discuss some things with you guys. I see that our 2 hours are up. Are you guys willing to go? Are you guys ready
Yeah,
to go?
no, we're good. I think we anyway usually go till about 10, 10:30 anyway. So
Okay.
I don't know, Rudolph, are you happy with that?
I'm happy with that
So
if you guys.
let me just check in terms of your schedule. Sorry, I haven't kept track to as where we are. Um,
Okay. We are
if
now
it
currently at
if
engaging
it's
all
worth
senses in observation. That's where we were last.
hold on, let me just quickly, because if it makes sense,
Engaging all five
there's no,
senses.
we'll
That
do
one.
another session or a follow-up session, then so be it. I'm happy to say let's do that. Let me see.
Okay. Yeah.
Savage, did you say engage all five senses? Is that where we are
Remember,
now?
we just finished that. So our next one will be describing people, vehicles, and objects. That's where we're
Okay,
on. Yeah.
right. So yeah, we've made great progress through it. So I actually think we can
We
continue. We
have.
are close
We
to
have.
Yeah,
the
there's not a
end.
lot. There's not too much left.
Yeah.
So part of the homework that you guys have to do is using the Bosch effect. Bosch. It sounds so posh, doesn't it?
It does.
Bosch effect. Okay, so the Bosch effect spelled BAHRSH, okay, is build, age, height, race, sex. And then the final one is hairstyle.
Ah, okay.
How to describe a person to the police. Bosch effect. Build, age, height, race, sex, hairstyle. Now, when a suspect runs away, he can change his clothing, he can change a jacket, he can put another shirt on, okay? But he cannot change his build, he cannot change his age, he cannot change his height, he cannot change his race, sex, or hairstyle. How
Right.
important
Can
is
I
that
add one to
description?
that as well?
Say
Can I
again?
add another one?
Yes.
I know a lot of things. If you do things for identification, is looking for distinctive marks. Like a tattoo.
So that's
Maybe
next.
there's. Okay. I'm jumping the gun.
It's all good. No, so the reason have you guys ever heard of the saying your gross motor skills or your what's the other one, petite motor skills, fine motor
Yeah.
skills?
The fine
Okay.
motor skills. Are
Yeah,
you?
so certain people fine motor skills will go out the window when there's a traumatic event. Some people the gross or the fine, either or,
Yeah.
will be different. So me, my gross motor skills are the best way to go because my fine motor skills goes out, gone, back. Like in the pew pew situation, when I'm standing on the range and I'm down range, if I have to draw the pew pew, take it off safety, and then pew down the range, it takes me forever. But gross motor skills, big movements, is like draw, cock, fire. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It's much faster because my gross motor skills are sharp. The same with when you're describing or having to remember information. Gross motor skills, let's use that as the big picture, is easier for people to remember than the small little things like tattoo, unless they are spending there more than 20 minutes for your brain to actually remember, okay, you need to remember something. Then, unless you are the type of person that can remember the smaller and finer details. Do you understand? Your bigger picture is always easier for people to remember. How many people won't remember the registration number, but they can tell you it's a white Ranger, white Ford Ranger?
Right.
It's something big. It's not the fine print. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah,
So
I do.
the first thing I will teach you guys before you learn how to do your fine pinpointing of information to describe people or vehicles or objects or anything like that or incident is to teach you the bigger picture. What do you see, smell, taste? Remember your five senses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Also, the Bosch effect gives you the bigger picture of the person, the bigger
Okay.
description. So it's build, age, height, race, sex, hairstyle. Those are the big things. That's something you can't miss. So now what you do, when you guys are driving to work, to the shop, wherever, people are walking down the road, remember the Bosch effect, then remember what clothes they were wearing.
Right.
Because that's going to teach you to start thinking more in tune with the finer print, the fine print at the bottom of the contract, the finer details. Okay.
Right.
Were they wearing a hat? Oh, one tip I can give you. If a suspect is running away, always look at their shoes. Why? Why do you always look at their shoes?
So I suppose it's easy to take off a jacket or to put on a jacket.
They
but
never take
will
off
not.
they never change their shoes. They might take it off and run barefoot, which gives you that's there. Okay?
Yeah.
They never change the shoes. Ever.
Okay.
Never. There's a little small tidbit.
Yeah, and it's so
Something that I've
obvious.
used
But,
in my career.
it's so obvious, but we never think of it.
Yeah,
That's actually such a golden tidbit, to
Yeah. Always look at the shoes.
yeah.
always look at the shoes. They never change it. Anyway,
Yeah.
and they don't run in Gucci. I'm just saying.
Do they run in Crocs?
Exactly. All right. So now that we've got the Bosch effect down, you guys need to, when you go to the shops, when you're at the office, start remembering this, and then ask yourself 10 minutes later the same question. What were they wearing? What's their build, height, sex, age, all of that. Ask yourself and see if you can remember after 10 minutes. Because after 2 minutes and 3 seconds, if you are busy with something else, you put that out your mind, you forget. You forget.
So do you do it regularly? So do you pick a person and say, well, okay, that is my, let's call it my victim or my, not a victim, the perpetrator. And that is the one that you say, okay, 10 minutes from now, can I still identify that
Absolutely.
perpetrator?
Yes, absolutely. Practice,
Those
practice,
things
practice.
about that, if you can
Yeah.
still remember and identify those particular things about the perpetrator.
Yeah. So Chunky has also made a very, very nice comment as well about the vehicle registration, the color, if there's any stickers or damages, maybe like a bump.
So when we get to
the plate.
objects,
Yeah.
when we get to objects, you remember is there a bump on the side of the vehicle? Is there rust on it? Is there
Yeah.
how many white Ford Rangers are there in South Africa?
There must be,
A lot. Okay.
yeah.
So if you didn't get the registration number, all the other little things
Yeah.
will help the police identify it. Even if they've got fake number plates on, that might assist them to recover the vehicle because of the better description you've given on that vehicle.
So would you say it is prudent to get like a funky bumper sticker and put that on your bumper, or maybe a funny My Family thingy at the back window? Or,
Maybe on board or a learner driver. All of this, on which side was it? Was it on the driver's side or the passenger side that the learner driver sticker was? All these little things might be able to assist you. Now, this is also homework that you have to do. When you're driving, also try and get a registration number, how many occupants in the vehicle, a description of the vehicle, even with the dents and the stickers and any other identifying marks, and which direction they were going and what road you were in. Then keep repeating that to yourself for approximately 2 to 3 minutes. Repeat it. Then go on your day. That afternoon, try and remember.
okay.
Remember it.
So just coming back to the bumper sticker, is that something that you would advise to put on your own vehicle?
Not if you're going to give your vehicle in to be traded in for another vehicle, because then it brings the cost down. But yes, if you don't owe anything on your vehicle, I would suggest that you do something to that effect to help identify your vehicle. A lot of people have done that to help identify their vehicles. So yes, it's each to their own, to be honest with you. It's each to their own. I believe that the tracking world should change in South Africa. So if stickers and bumps are the way to go, then great. But I would say that tracking needs to just change in South Africa. They put it in the same place for all vehicles, and the guys that are hijacking and stealing these vehicles know where they put them. They take them. And yes, sometimes the people that do the recoveries get a luck and they get there in time, but sometimes it's too late. Either the unit was removed, or the vehicle is in pieces.
Somewhere where there's no signal.
You've got a frame.
Yeah.
That's all that's left.
Yeah.
Engine's gone, seats are gone, everything's gone. So
if time permits, I want to talk to you about the vehicle recovery, because I mean, from my point of view, I'm also involved in the security side of things. But as I said, if time permits,
no problem. Whenever
we can talk about it. Okay.
All
but
right.
I don't want to keep the flow stopping. Let's go.
Yeah, I just want to give you your homework. I like being a nasty teacher and giving you homework.
Yeah.
So how would you guys describe an object?
So obviously by shape, that will be an obvious thing. By color, maybe by texture.
Can be, yes. What else?
Well, can I touch the object? Is it something that's within my reach?
The size counts.
Okay.
The distinctive features of the object.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you guys can see, I got a new ring light today. Teaspoon, that was my gift. Just letting you know, for doing a good job. So you can see the ring light. Okay, so I want to describe the ring light. So it's about 1 meter 2 in height. It has got white or yellow light. It's got a black height adjuster. It's got 1, 2, 3 bolts on it. It's got a cable attached to it. But what is the distinctive features on it?
So the light would be a distinctive feature.
No. Does it have a switch? Does it have? Is it electric? Is it battery operated? Is there a bash? Is the thing bent on the shaft? Is the light not working properly? Is there an adjuster? All of these little things. It's the distinctive features of the ring light. Yes, you can say ring light, but what makes my ring light different from everyone else's?
Okay.
I hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we get to anti-hijacking. We there?
Yes.
Okay. So the types of hijackings that we have in this country, there are a multitude, but the main cause of hijackings is showmanship hijacking, operational hijacking, and syndicate hijacking. Okay. Those are the 3 reasons, the motives for why they take the vehicles. Okay. So showmanship is motivated by thrill or peer pressure. Okay. That's people who want to become part of the gang or want to join the syndicate. In order for them to do it, they have to show how badass they are. Showmanship. Okay. Then you get operational hijacking. Car theft structured amongst organized criminals. Okay. There's a shopping list. Have you guys ever heard of the shopping list? There's about 12 vehicles that have been taken in out of a city, and the reason for that is because there's a shopping list.
Yeah. I know the Toyota Hilux, the Ford Rangers, the City Golfs, those are the vehicles that's the vehicles you avoid, when you shop for a new vehicle.
Exactly.
So I see Chunky saying in order for a car. So in these syndicates, when they're stealing cars, they already have people that want to buy those cars. So they're stealing the cars that people have orders for.
Exactly.
Well, that's interesting.
Syndicates and operational hijacking, Both of those will have that feature. So there's an order for them. Then there's another one. The syndicate hijacking is highly organized crime groups with international links. So yes, they do have a shopping list, but it goes international. Do you understand? Syndicates also do it for a reason. They are getting the vehicles ready to commit cash and transits, armed robbery, home invasions. They hijack that vehicle so that they can use it that night in a different province. Do you understand? So those are the three main reasons in South Africa hijackings occur. Can I have a slide, please? Purple. I don't do hijackings.
Oh no.
So typical hijacking scenarios, okay? We have in driveways or at intersections, while stationary on the road or in parking lots, following victims from petrol stations or banks, fake police, the blue lights scenario, and then during vehicle sale test drives. That, okay, you're selling your vehicle, they want to take it for a test drive, and then they throw you out and they're gone with the vehicle. Or even at showrooms, they have used that tactic to hijack the vehicles. So your driveway and the intersections are extremely easy hijackings for them. Do you know why?
You're complacent.
Complacency, what else? What else could cause it to be the easiest?
So obviously you are you're not moving, in both scenarios, you at the stand.
You're worried about more worried about the traffic, more worried about what's going on your phone. Okay, I'm home now. What am I going to do? What am I going to make for dinner?
Yeah.
You are not alert. You are vulnerable. Well done, Foxy.
Yeah, well done, Foxy.
Yeah, you're vulnerable. Because you're near your place of home, and also maybe because you're on your way somewhere. What are you doing what you're going to get at the grocery store, or what are you going to do at your job? What meeting is there? What email needs to be sent? You are not on alert. Now, your parking garages and your parking lots are also an easy target. So people tend to think that you being in a paid parking lot saves you from it. Yes, it's a deterrent, but it doesn't stop them. Okay, so you have to be very, very alert. Your shopping cart, put it against your vehicle, walk around your vehicle, and scan the area around you. Then unlock your vehicle. Then open the boot or the back door or wherever you're going to be putting your parcels. Once you've opened, again, scan. Look around you physically. Don't just look. Turn around and look at every person loitering. Any vehicle where people are sitting in and just staring at you, or people on phones looking at you. Those are the people you have to look out for. Do not pack your parcels out one. No, one at a time. Scan. Another one. Scan. Does it take time? First time you're doing it? Absolutely. It drags out the whole time. But eventually you become so used to it, it becomes second nature and it goes fast. You can stop yourself from becoming a victim. When you're driving home and you're coming into your driveway, people with no electric gates or no gate motor, you unlock it by standing in your driveway, in front of your gate. You get out, you unlock it, you open the gate, you climb back in the car and you drive in, correct? That is how everyone's been doing it for years. It is the wrong way. You will become a target. Remember something, 86% of hijackings, armed robberies, cash and transfers, home invasions, all of these have been planned.
Right.
Way in advance. Way in advance. They know your routine. They know what vehicle you drive. They know where you go. They know where your kids go to school. They know where you work. They know where your neighbors are going, what time they're leaving, all of that. They have been watching you for a while. These
Right.
guys sitting on the sidewalks, I told someone today, something that our parents used to teach us is, what is it? Kindness doesn't kill you, and common decency doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Common courtesy doesn't cost anything.
Yeah.
Walk out to your driveway, walk down to your gate, greet them. Hi, how are you guys today? They think you're as friendly as anything and that you're not noticing. You notice what he's wearing, what he's doing there, and tomorrow morning if you see him in that exact same spot again, now you're alert. Find out, what is he doing there? So are you looking for work? Because I see you here every day. I recognize you from yesterday. Now you're telling him you can recognize him. You're alert. You've noticed that there's a problem. Do you think he's going to go for you or the person that's not noticing? Which is the easier target?
The one that's not noticing.
Do you understand? So, there's certain little things you can do. So when you approach your premises and you have you've got not a motorized gate, you've got a normal manual gate, and you need to go and lock because we lock the gates, correct? We've got the padlock, the chain, whatever. Park your vehicle on the opposite side of where you're turning in, keys out of the ignition, go unlock your gate, come back, and go back into your vehicle. Being alert while you're moving towards and from. Scan your area, look behind bushes, see if there's any movement. Look around you. Even don't just do this. You're going to miss something. Gross motor skills. Remember I told you guys. So move. Actually move your body and turn and look at everything that could be a threat. Then climb back in your car after unlocking it.
Right.
Now, if you've got kids in the car, oh my gosh, chunky.
Right. That's something that I want to bring up.
To go past and turn will save you years of trauma, yes. If you see a vehicle or someone loitering, drive past your house.
Okay, because that was going to be my question. Because there was a car here once where we are. It was a car that doesn't belong, and our street is very short, so I immediately see it's a car that doesn't belong here. And our gate is like that. We have to unlock it automatically. It's not a motor gate. And we pulled into our driveway, but I was terrified that this car was going to drive in behind us, and we had the kids in the car. So that was probably not the right thing. Nothing, thank goodness, happened. But the right thing to have done was to drive past.
The problem is it could have been.
Right.
Just like when Rudolph said that it was his neighbor at the window. What if it wasn't?
Yeah.
He didn't even notice him.
And that's an eye-opener. Hey, that's a big eye-opener.
Remember what I said to you? So many people are on code white and yellow out in public in South Africa because they're busy on the phones. They've got lives to live. They don't have time. Yeah. I'm so relaxed. Nothing will happen to me. Complacency. I'm okay. I'm bulletproof. Right, yeah. It will never happen to me. And that is the mentality that we have that causes you to become a victim quicker than you should.
Right.
And it's not victim blaming. It's just facts. Absolute facts. Certain things, changing your routine, doing the K53 check into your mirrors and your blind spots when you're at a traffic light, putting your vehicle further behind a vehicle at a stop or at a traffic light. Your bonnet, the start of your bonnet, must be able, if you look at the front of the car, the tires will be there. You'll see it will touch the tires. Ne? That's when you know that you've got enough space. So anything from there and back, you'll have enough space to turn out and get away swiftly. And remember, a vehicle is a weapon, guys.
Yeah.
A vehicle is a weapon.
I know one doesn't think of it as a logical, let's call it an escape mechanism, but even creating an accident in a hijacking situation is a big deterrent because now that vehicle is damaged and the chances of it being stolen decreases.
Right.
That's a mind-boggling one. One doesn't think about it, but bump your car. Or
From the
in the
car. Yeah, that's
yeah,
clever.
Yeah.
yeah, but
So
one doesn't think about it.
I like when they break into your house, this is your domain. You know where everything is. You know where the exit points are. You know how to stop them from getting further into your house when when you've locked yourself in with the kids. Um, use your house. You've got a multitude of stuff here that you can use as a weapon. It
Right.
doesn't matter if you have to replace the TV. Morella, fuck that. Slut. Klar. That's if they get into you, obviously. Um, and obviously, if they have a firearm, remember, assess the situation, assess your
Yeah.
escape, see what recourse you need to take. You can't just do it out of craziness like I do. I just don't think, and I just do. So don't do as I say, not do as I do. Okay?
Right.
So, yeah. I think there's just a multitude of options that we can take. Um, but it's up to you to go through that um, scenario in your head, what you would do. It's the same with the vehicle. You can use the vehicle as a weapon. You can damage it to a point where they can't take your car, or you can drive over them. Oh, shame.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to ask yourself the question: was your action? If you do a reasonable man test, so in the police, you've got that thing where you say, you do a reasonable man test. Would a reasonable man or woman react the same way to the incident as what you did?
Right.
Were you at that point where you had nowhere to go other than to use your vehicle as a weapon? Isn't it reasonably to assume that that is the only way to get to you and your family to safety? Were they brandishing knives, or were they brandishing firearms? Because if it's a knife and you drive over them, you're going to jail. Because how are they going to get inside your car? Unless they break your window.
Right.
Once they've broken your window, oh shame. It has to be proportional to the offense. The way you
Right.
defend yourself has to be proportional. The use of excessive force is clear in Section 49, guys. You need to make sure that if it's just for property, if they're just stealing and they're getting away, let them go. Take it and go, phone the police, give them a description, take notes, and then let them catch them on the side. Open up a case. Oh no, it's just a phone. I'm not opening up a case. Bullshit. Open the case. Because that police station needs resources and equipment and staff. And if you don't report, they say, oh, there's only 20 cases reported. Oh, take 6 of those police officers away and put them by a busy station. Take 3 vehicles away. Take 2 detectives away. Your station loses resources and equipment. Report.
I just want to read Taz's comment. This is again, sorry, Tazzy, the second time she's asking. What if you think you see or seen your perp and you find the police, but it's incorrect and you get into trouble?
How will you get into trouble? Explain to me, Taz. I need to understand. How would you get into trouble? This is what you believe, correct? You believe it is the perpetrator. Unless you are lying about it, slap on the wrist. Basically,
She's
that is
asking
your
if
belief.
you
No,
can.
no, you can't, my babe. Unless it's false accusations and that person has gone to jail for you because he stole your chicken 2 days ago. So now you're saying that he hijacked you. Do you understand? If
Right.
you believe it is the perpetrator, you cannot be held responsible for that. That is your belief. It's your opinion. It's up to the police to investigate and either prove or disprove in court that it was not that person or it was that person.
Hi, Chris.
Okay.
At the time, if you felt in danger, you have every right to call for help. And if you believe that it's the perp, yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. I believe that to the best of my ability, I'm going to explain to you that your life, as well as that of the accused, is important. It's not just the accused. In this country, we don't just have human rights and Constitution for the suspects, but for ourselves too. And we have to remember that. We have to remember that we also have a right to live. We have a right to have our property left with us that we worked hard for. And as long as you believe that and you don't make things up and you don't lie under oath, you should be fine. Yes, people do worry about false accusing, but like I said, you don't report it and the police don't investigate it. Tomorrow, that person might be the perpetrator and he would kill your neighbor next door because you didn't stop him. You have to remember that there's consequences to your actions or your lack of action. So I would rather make the accusation and let there be an investigation. If you're not sure, tell the police, I'm not sure, but this is who I think it is. Tell them you're suspicious until you are sure, and they are sure, they've done the investigation. So, yeah. Let's see.
Chris, I second. 100%.
Yeah. So any other questions before we carry on? I feel so
I think we're good. I did not see any other questions. I might have missed it, but I don't think I've seen.
Chunk is saying 80% of the time the false reporting is domestic related or intentional.
Intentional. Yeah, so unless it is a traumatic event and the person is not sure. So they will have that person, the detectives will now have, okay, this is the person they think it is, but they went through a traumatic and they say they're not sure. Now it's up to the police investigators to investigate it. So, yeah, false reporting does happen, guys, as Chunky has said. It does happen, unfortunately. Even like I said to you, where when I was debussing a vehicle with my firearm out, I got charged with pointing of a pew-pew. I didn't point it at them.
Right.
You understand? They were angry because I decided to stop them, plain and simple. Right. It was their way of getting back at me. So that does happen. It does happen, but yeah.
So when you say 80% of the false reporting is domestic related, what does that mean?
So either men or women will report domestic violence to get back at their spouse for something they didn't like. Oh, so you want to fight with me? You want to have a girlfriend? I'm telling the police you hit me. And they go and open up the case. They even get interdicts against that person.
Okay.
Or my friend slept with my husband, so now I'm going to open up a case of theft against her.
Okay.
It's out of spitefulness that a case gets. Okay.
Yeah.
And damaging to people who really experience those things, I think.
Absolutely, because it wastes the police officer's time. Right. And then when that same person that put that false claim in, decides, okay, the shit is going down, I need the help of the police. Now, sorry, you cried wolf 3 or 4 times. I'm not so sure I believe you now. Now, when you really need help, there is, unfortunately, a problem with that. Because police officers start to get to know their repeat complainants. They do. Domestic violence complaints that I've attended in the past is where you arrest the guy because she called, he's killing me, and then you get there and you're busy arresting him and he resists, so you use the necessary force to effect the arrest and she starts murdering you. Don't you hit my husband?
Teaspoon says, Chris makes a joke. He says, no, she stole her hubby, so it's not false. And then Teaspoon says, a vexatious complainant. What does that mean, Teaspoon? Can you explain?
I have no clue.
In the comments. A
Vexatious
vexatious complainant.
Ek ken nie daai woord nie, hoor. Spel vir my oom. Yeah. So, the last tips that I'm going to give, the golden rules for survival on hijacking. This is the last stuff that we can do, and then we can do some Q&A if the people want, or we can finish up. It's up to you guys, or if there's anything else you guys want to chat, I'm here for that. The golden rules for survival in a hijacking. Stay calm, Remaining composed can prevent escalation and help you think clearly. Okay? Don't argue. Compliance reduces the risk of violence. Avoid eye contact but remain aware. This shows submission while keeping you alert to the situation. Now, I have got a problem with that. Avoid eye contact but remain aware. This shows submission while keeping you alert to the situation. I believe that golden rule is while they have already stopped you and opened your door. That means everything to you to get it done, to get out there safely. But if it has not occurred yet and you have noticed and you've become alert and you had that gut feeling, these O's are up to something because they keep looking at your car and you're looking, make eye contact.
Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Make a noise. Rev your car. So that everybody keeps looking at you. They will, and it won't always work, but it might give them food for thought. Okay. Make that eye contact. People follow you and you see they want to come grab your bag. Go, how's it? How are you doing today? It's a very funny weather we're having.
Right.
You go for shopping. Now he realized you've noticed him.
Right.
You're alert. You can describe him. You can fight back. Same applies. If the hijacking has not started happening, it's not imminent, they're not right by your door, make eye contact, wave, say, shop.
Right.
Don't antagonize them. Don't look sarcastic. Don't try me situation. Don't do that. You can show them that you're willing to go the mile. They will rather go for the auntie or the uncle next to you that's sitting on their phone, not noticing them. Now it becomes a crime of opportunity instead of planned and organized.
Right.
Sorry to say, they will become the victim and not you. It is a deterrent. It doesn't always stop them, guys. Remember, all the tips we're giving you doesn't mean it will 110% stop the crime. But let's make it as hard as possible for them.
Yeah.
Let them think twice before they take you on.
Right.
Okay.
Carry on. I'm just going to excuse myself for 1 second, but carry on. I'm in the background and I can hear you guys.
Okay. Perfect. Vehicle surrender protocols. Keep your hands visible. Turn off the engine and exit the vehicle slowly to avoid alarming the hijackers. If a child is on board, communicate calmly with the hijackers, comply with their demands, and reassure the child to keep them calm. And remember, take out the keys. Bargain. Use it as a bargaining chip. You can be calm. Don't fight, because that tenses them up. And what they're going to do, they're going to become more aggressive and maybe even shoot you to shut you up. Or the child, or take the child. So be calm. No problem. You can take my car. Listen, in my bag is a lot of cash. You know what? Take my ring. Take it off because you want your child. Yeah, take my ring, guys. You can have it. Really. I just want to get my child. I'll even give you the keys. But start moving backwards so that you can say, make sure that you unlock the back door for your child. Make sure that when you're climbing out, you've got that little button, especially in the newer cars. Unlock the car so that you can get to your child in the back. You might not have locked yours, or you had opened it and closed it and didn't lock again. Whatever the reason being is that they could open your door, make sure that it's unlocked for your child so that you can get your child out.
So it's just 1 second. Tazzy, I think let's just put that one in on the parking lot because I've got a follow-up question regarding that as well. But we'll come back to that right now. Sorry, please continue with your tips. So just to add to the tips, I've also heard, if there's they're standing next to you, with a pew pointing at your head, as you said, keep your hands visible. I've also heard, that you use, so obviously we're driving in South Africa, on the left side of the road. So
Yes.
for us, obviously sitting in the left, so you would use your right hand to loosen your safety belt, so that you don't
That
try
is
to.
up for debate. I have done that myself. It works. However, there was also an incident where that actually caused them to shoot the guy because they thought he was going for a gun.
That is
Well, yeah,
interesting.
sorry.
Okay. So that is circumstantial, if it might or might not work.
100%, each to their own. Unfortunately, it's not an exact science. I know it worked for me. I had my pew pew on the side of where my right hand was by the door. And
Yeah.
I said to him, I'm opening, luckily I didn't have a seatbelt on, but I said, I'm opening the door with my left hand. I'm opening the door with my left hand. I opened it, and as I climbed out, I cocked the pew pew, and I was able to defend myself. I was lucky.
Okay.
I was very lucky, because what if they had noticed? What if it's not always recommended to fight back. Only if you see an opportunity for a good outcome for you should you do it. Don't lie to yourself and say, I'm Rambo. Don't lie to yourself,
Yeah.
I can take these O's. No. Assess it properly. Do not lie to yourself. Make sure that you are able to get out of it. I was very lucky in the sense that someone next to me was taking the what's name off me by hooting and carrying on, so the other hijacker looked at them. So it gave me an opportunity to sort the one out. And the minute I sorted that one out, the other one ran away. I was
I hear you.
extremely lucky. Do you understand? You have to assess. Exactly, Chunky. That is what we were talking about the whole night, is the fact that you have to train the brain. So it's about conditioning your mindset of confrontation. You have to condition yourself. When you're training your puppy to pee outside and not to pee on your carpet or on your floor, it's called conditioning. And I'm sorry
Yeah.
to use that as an analogy, but it's true. You have to condition the mind to be able to handle those traumatic events. And once the trauma has occurred, to deal with it in the aftermath. Not to self-blame, not to feel shame, not to feel guilt because you should have done something different, or you're a bad person, or this and that, this and that. You need to debrief. So everyone says debriefing is where you just put your statement in. Debriefing can mean a multitude of things. You can debrief a trauma victim by making them write down everything, making them talk about it, and making them rationalize an irrational trauma might help them deal with it in a later stage. It will do a mind switch. So that is something that I had to do for a few times. As you know, like I said, Chunky and myself work together. We've been in situations where we had to either unalive, or some people, or you be unalive, and that it does stay with you. Losing my partner, where he was unalived in front of me by said suspects. These are things that and things that you see. So we come from the extreme side of it, and
Yeah.
we're telling you this is what's worked for me, but it might not work for Chunky. It's not an exact science. I don't care what anyone says. It's not.
So is there proper psychological help within the SAPS, for help of the, let's call it the, okay.
Yes, absolutely. So I will actually, if anyone is interested in asking for the number, they can DM me. They're more than welcome to. And I will give them the crisis line number, as well as the domestic violence and victim empowerment numbers that they can contact if they need assistance. There's also a support line for victims of hijackings, armed robberies. But like I said, every station has a officer that is able to counsel you and debrief you once a traumatic event has happened. And yes, your chaplain service, they are there to help you through a trauma. They are qualified counselors, and they are able to assist you for the initial debriefing and the initial trauma assistance. After that, I do suggest that you do seek professional help
Mm.
elsewhere. 1.8 million contact
Yeah,
crimes.
that's a lot. That is a lot.
I only got 350,000 odd police officers. I know it's small, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So let's be understanding that they might not be able to be there in the long run. So yeah, for fraud and
That's
narcotics.
interesting, Teaspoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, teaspoon. It's you saw some things and heard some things. I can tell you that
Oh,
much.
until,
What did Chunky say now? Weekends when alarm is off, you still naturally wake up at the same time. It's like setting an alarm. Yes, I don't do that now. I ignore my internal alarm clock. It can go to hell. I want to sleep. Yeah. Yes.
Right.
Yes. Debriefing is only at the point of the event, your initial shock to help you get through that. But that is very important for when you go to the professional help for long term. That will be your foundation. That will be your base of building on to fix this, the brain ultimately and the situation and dealing with the trauma in a healthy way. Does it make sense?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
yeah, let's just quickly go back. There was, sorry, I just need to scroll so I can read the question as it was said. Tazzy asked, or said she used to work at the bottle store years ago, and when I caught them stealing in the store, the police said I could not charge them as they had to leave the shop first. So I think, possession of the property, and once again, I do not know how the law is interpreted in this scenario, but I think because they haven't left the store, let's call it the entrance or the exit, that
The
that
intent is gone.
yeah, the
So the
intent is
minute that
not.
they are still in the store, they can say their hands were full, they were just putting it in their pockets or what's name, so they could carry it to the till. There's
But
no
now,
intent. You can't prove intent.
interesting, and I don't know if this is factual or not, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that is also the case in the UK. If you steal something of a certain value, and once again, I don't know if it's 500 Rand. In the UK, I think it's something to like £50. Um, hi, Erin. The case is deemed not important enough or not high enough in value that it will not get prosecuted.
So,
Is
yeah.
that a factual thing or is that
Um,
a myth?
so look, it depends on what was taken. I'm going to be honest with you. Yes, there is a money limit or cap from upwards. Then there's definitely a case, and um, yeah, exactly. That is what Chunky's saying. It only becomes shoplifting or theft once they exit the threshold of the property, and it's also the cost involved does make a difference. Sorry, guys, my ass is dead. Um, but it depends on your police officer and it depends on your prosecutor. They can
Okay.
say so. There was an incident while I was in security where I had guards at a shop and they caught the person at the till, not taking out. She had paid, but she hasn't walked out yet. And they declined to prosecute because she forgot it was in her pocket, but she hadn't exited the shop yet.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay, so that is a bit of a grey area because the intent was there, but the crime hasn't been committed as per the
You can't prove
definition.
intent yet.
Yeah,
You can't prove
yeah,
intent until they left the shop. Then the
Right.
intent can be proven because they are leaving with what is theft? It's the intentional taking of someone else's property for your own gain on a continuous basis. So it has to be leaving with you and it
yeah.
stays with you. So, yeah, it has to leave the property first. As for the pricing, I can't remember, to be honest with you, and I don't know if it's changed over the years. I mean, I left 10 years ago. So, but it's something that I think I should find out for you guys, because that would be interesting.
Yeah.
What is that? Because I think I might have input. What is the question?
So no, it's not a question. It's more like a statement or maybe a myth. I don't know which one of the two it is. But if a crime is committed, let's say for shoplifting, I'm now at the local Pick and Pay. I steal a bag of chips, for instance. Okay. Now I walk out. I get caught red-handed. The chances of that case being prosecuted is very, very slim to none, because of the value that is associated with the item that was stolen.
There is a value, but I can't tell you the exact value. I
And I
actually
think
don't
that
know.
value is up to about 500 Rand. So anything below 500 Rand, the case will just get thrown out of court.
Yeah.
And it's not just South Africa. I believe the UK has got a similar money value associated. And I think it's something about £50. So that you can literally, you can steal something today, you might get away with it tomorrow, you might get caught, but there's no consequences in the long run.
Yeah, at one stage, I can't remember if I'm remembering that correctly now, is that you can do admission of guilt for shoplifting. I think that there was a J534 that could be issued, but I stand to be corrected. Well, they wanted to do that just before I left, so I'm not sure. But it's something that I'd love to find out for you guys, because that is a very interesting question.
I don't know if this helps in any way, but my brother was arrested for a couple of weeks for stealing a chocolate.
Yo.
Yeah,
When
that's
was
harsh.
that?
That's long ago. That's like over 13 years ago.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Chunky, I don't know what exactly the definition would be between the two. You say pricing in SA only applies to shoplifting, not theft. But
so
is shoplifting a form of theft?
Yes, it is. It is. However, the definitions are different in our law, in criminal law. Should I say the Criminal Procedure Act? Under the Criminal Procedure Act. So
please enlighten me, because theft in my mind is theft. It doesn't matter if you steal.
So theft, you would take from someone's wallet is lying on the counter at work. They walk in, they steal it. Or there's a bicycle in your yard, they take it. That's theft. Shoplifting is taking something that has a monetary value on it, putting it in your pocket and going away with it. That's in layman's terms, basically what it means. It's still under the theft, but shoplifting has, by definition, has got a monetary value at that moment. Whereas when you go to the what's name to the police to report the bicycle, it's secondhand, don't know what the value is, etc. There's already a monetary value for shoplifting.
Okay. I need to think about this one, because it breaks my brain.
It hurts my brain too. I didn't write the laws. I just followed and enforced them.
Understood.
Yeah. Yes, in the past, it's now
You're
arrestable.
doing that now, Savage.
Yes.
There was a thing when it comes to domestic violence, where there's a sign. Is that something that the police does the police recognize that?
In other countries, maybe. I doubt. I know everyone's got TikTok, well, most people, and Facebook and everything, and they've seen it, but it's not being advertised in South Africa as such.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not an open thing. Although it's great to have. It'll be great to teach the kids that, isn't it? When a stranger takes them and they don't feel comfortable. That'll be a great thing, but it's not being utilized in South Africa as much. I think in certain areas maybe, but I don't think the police will be able to pick up on it.
Right.
In most areas, yeah.
Savage, I'm sorry. Once again, I did not check at the agenda, but are we done? So I think, Ellie, if you don't mind, if there's questions in the comments, and if anybody is feeling like jumping in a box,
Yes,
I
anybody can
think,
jump in a box and come ask Savage some questions. I do
yeah.
see that Tazzy is asking, can a store manager put up a picture of a thief? Is it legal? Not
Not.
convicted.
That's interesting.
No.
That is very interesting.
No. However, if you are banning someone, remember there's a thing called right of admission reserved. You as the store
Yeah.
owner can ban them,
Yeah.
and you can give their pictures to your staff members where it's not available to the public. You see the difference? So putting it up in a store where everyone, including the public that has access to the shop, can see it, that's a no.
Okay.
But-
Okay. I was just about to say that's very interesting that you've mentioned it. So if you put it on the public side of the wall, because I deal with a lot of CCTV environments as well. We've got like a control room.
Yes.
The casinos, ideally, they've also got let's call it the usual suspects.
Yeah.
Or the,
100%.
so if you walk in, things like facial recognition is in play. So I'm not sure where the Poppy Act, where you draw that line, because it's not necessarily your identity. It is just a biometric that has been used to identify
you. Okay, so where that comes in, when they enter the casino, does it say you're under camera surveillance?
It does.
Poppy Act, bye-bye. Because you entering knowing that you are being monitored,
Yeah.
it falls away. So you're covered.
Yeah. So I know, like retail stores, they do have pictures up of, let's call it the frequent
Buyers.
shoppers. Let's put it that, yeah. So I do know that they do have, pictures up, but it's not for public view. It is for
100%. It's for the staff only. It's so that they can alert someone that if they do come, right of admission reserved, you have a right to remove that person from your property or your business, and they are not to come back. And you can contact SAPS for trespassing, but knowing full well that you have warned the person they're not allowed to come there again. It has to be in writing, though.
Okay.
Yes, it does, Chunky. But it's that you're going into the nitty-gritty part where it's no.
Yeah.
Teaspoon is saying,
Welcome,
awesome.
Teaspoon.
Thank you, Savage.
Yeah.
Are you saying bye, Teaspoon? It sounds like you're saying bye.
The old man needs to sleep. He's gonna kick me. Oh, thank
Well, thank you for being here, Teaspoon, as always. Oh, not yet. Okay. My bad. Jumping to conclusions.
See, Chunky. See what he says there. I've always got
my
my six, my boy.
There we go.
Yeah,
Nice.
we've been through some situations together in SAPS. So, yeah.
Yeah.
He's my backup, and I'm his. Oh, thank you so much, Teaspoon. I was so worried. I see a lot of people went away. Even my husband and child ran away.
Well, I've been keeping an eye on, we're on 11 now, but it was like between 17 and 11. At one point it was 19, and I've seen there's a lot of people that was consistently in here. So that was pretty good, Savage. I think that was really good.
We're all here to learn, my baby. No.
Yeah. Absolutely. And do you feel like you got through the entire agenda?
I did. I got most of it out, and the important ones were done. So the trauma dealing and the trauma debriefing and stuff, I went into a more detailed plan that I wanted to discuss with you guys. But I think it's not what the real reason was for us being here tonight.
Yeah.
understand when I tell this, we always reactive policing, reactive security is not the way that we should go. It's like your armed response in security. It's a reactive tool. It's an early preventative measure for us at home, but for the security company, it's reactive. It's in the name, response. The value of crime prevention and intelligence-driven security is so important for our communities and for our country that I think it's the only way we can move forward and actually start making a dent in what is happening to us. Chunky, we will make it a party, Mitch. Okay, no problem.
And then a follow-up on the vehicle recovery. So obviously a lot of it is earmarked for the international market. But who would that market typically be? Is it up in Africa? Is it overseas somewhere else?
The problem with most tracking in our country is if it does go international, like you said, we can't track a vehicle once it's gone over the border.
But typically, where do the vehicles end up?
You might have people that have that same tracking device and same system in another country, but because it works on
geographical location.
Yes, it's difficult to track internationally, unfortunately. So even if they don't find the what's name, so there are some tracking companies that are now investing in getting their system that will be able to be picked up in Zimbabwe, in Zambia, in Angola, in Namibia, and in Mozambique, the surrounding countries. But it's very difficult because they have their own laws, right? And they have their own ways of doing things. So, most of them stay local. Oh, yeah, Chunky. What did you say there? It's specific makes of vehicles that leave the country, the rest stay local. Yeah, absolutely. There's only certain vehicles that leave the country. It's like certain cell phones. It will be by your local dealer, by your local scrapyard, or it will be over the border. So there's only certain phones that go over the border. So it's the same with vehicles. So, but yes, the tracking units that we see that has been registered with ICASA is mostly made for international partners or countries. And yes, it is for Africa. I was in Nigeria in 2019. I was with a team of people. We were training elite members of their police force. They wanted a specific training regime for them. And I asked the guy that was looking after us from the police, and I asked him, they don't steal vehicles here? He says, no, they do, but it's not so prevalent. I mean, you've got a vehicle that breaks down on the side of the road. They leave the vehicle right there. They don't move it. It's there for months till they can afford to take the car. It's not pulled apart. It's not, the tires are still there. The wheels are still there. Everything is still there. It hasn't even been broken into. So, yeah.
That's interesting.
Funny enough, we due to weather, we couldn't leave Benin City to go to Lagos to climb onto the airplane to come home. So we had to drive through. It was a 5-hour drive. Good Lord, those people, when they drive. I think I didn't need a seatbelt because my ass was attached to the seat. It was suction cup of note. But
I know that.
Yeah, so on the side of the road, there was a broken down truck with goods on it. I think there was oil, there was flour, sugar, and some other stuff that was on this truck. And some of the load had fallen off. And I checked the people like, oh, looting happening. No. They were repacking the damn truck. None of them stole.
Wow.
None of them stole. It was amazing to see.
That's fascinating to know, because so that tells me that what is the right word now? a cultural thing, if I can call it that.
I don't know. Because now you'll see in Mozambique it will happen. You'll see in Zimbabwe it will happen. You'll see in Botswana once in a while. It doesn't happen often there. But so I don't know. I don't know. All I know is the Nigerian justice system is so weird. Because if you don't have money for a lawyer, the court won't appoint you one. Your family, or you have to get a lawyer. And if you don't have a lawyer, you can await trial for up to 25 years or till you die.
Oh, wow.
Even for petty theft. Tazzy, can you explain to me what does it get approved? What are you asking gets approved? If you can just explain that to me. If people act without impunity, then lawlessness will prevail. 100%, Loxy. I think you've hit the nail on the head. That might be a option. I made a joke with him and I said to him, why are all the, well, not all of them, but some dealers here in South Africa from your country? And he said to me, no, we threw them out. We didn't like them. Because they are the most amazing people. They really are. They are so lovely. They really are.
Good evening, Tazzy.
Evening.
Good night. Thank you for being here.
Such a
welcome.
pleasure. Thanks, guys. It's very entertaining. My hands are a bit broken from tapping, though.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Tazzy.
What I meant was, okay, I don't know much about cars, so please excuse me, but like, so if you want to put on a new number plate, is it just easy to go get one, or do you need to have like your car like checked out to see that it's correct and that it belongs to that car? So how do they just keep getting new number plates for cars? Because surely they don't keep the same ones on.
So they will do it illegally, but if you want to do it legally, your VIN number is attached to not just the frame but the engine. Your chassis number and your VIN number. Okay. So if you want to change your registration number, you'll go to the licensing department and they will actually deregister that number plate from the VIN and chassis number and issue you with new number plates. Do you understand?
Okay. So they don't actually check anything because
No, they do.
like,
They do.
okay, but now what if you've stolen the car, you've hijacked the car and you've taken it from East London to the Transkei and then now you want to sell it? They obviously change the number plates, right? Because you can pick up, say for instance, someone drives to East London and you see your own number plate. So obviously they change it. Is it just easy to go and get a new one?
It's not. It's illegally done.
Or
Or they
so they're
steal
doing
the
it
number
all
plate from a
over. They have
vehicle that's
someone-
the same description, or they go to a number plating place and they pay big money for that number plate to be made.
Okay. Yeah, I was assuming so.
Yeah.
So it's
they can't do
all
it legally
dealing with
unless they have got someone in the licensing department that can play around and then give them a number plate that is okay, give them a logbook that is okay, and they're going to have a license plate made.
Oh, but I mean to the extent because it's not just like it doesn't just happen like once or twice. It's happening constantly.
Yes.
Like there's hijackings happening. So they really know their stuff and they've really got people on the inside doing nonsense for them.
Crime. That's all I'm going to tell you. Organized crime, syndicates. They are very well connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Quite scary.
It is very scary, my babe. But that's why we've got people like Chunky that will work extremely hard to catch the people.
I have a bit of a question, more like maybe another myth that you can bust, and that is that with firearms in our country, we need licenses, right? We need to apply for licensing and stuff like that. So there is, I don't know if you want to call it a rumor that's been going around for a couple of years now, that when you apply for your license, that and they on your license and everything, it asks you your reason for wanting a firearm. And people are saying, whatever you do, don't put self-defense as a reason, because your license will be declined.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now, Section 13 is for self-defense weapons. So how can you not put a motivation in that covers self-defense? If Section 13 is you using, you're not just you owning the firearm and registering the firearm for self-defense. So yeah, unless you are using it for Section 15 or 16, which is your sport and hunting, etc., then you cannot say it's for self-defense. Although Firearms Act 60 of 2000 states also that you can use any means possible to save that your life or that of another.
Okay.
So, and there's a lot of part of the section that allows you to still carry your Section 15 and 16 pew pew. So yeah, but Section 13 is directly for self-defense. So what you will use in your motivation is you will say that these are the crime stats in my area. This is the times I'm working. This is the area I'm working. This is where I stay. All of this is dangerous. These are the hijackings. These are the theft. This is the murders. This is the rape. This is this. You will put that all in your motivation. Yeah, so you have to go for your proficiency training first. Yeah. Okay, so you have to do your unit standards. So it'll be handle and use, and if you're going to use it for business, like professional hunting or your security companies, okay, you'll have to do business purpose as well. If not, you'll only do handle and use, okay, of the 9mm or the big long ratatata and the big boom. Without getting that out. How was that? So yeah. Now I've forgotten what I wanted to say.
Hey Warren.
About the motivation.
Okay. Yeah, so you do the proficiency training. Once you've done the proficiency training, you will then go to your police station and apply for your competency. That will be where they check your fingerprints and everything to see you've done your training, you've done the shoot, you know the law, because part of your unit standards is the law on being able to handle and use your firearm in certain situations. So once you've given that in, they then send your fingerprints off, they check you, they make sure that you are okay. They get letters from people to say you're not cuckoos in the head and that you can use the pew-pew, which most people are about it. Let's be honest. But anyway, so unless there's cases pending against you, then you won't get it. Then you'll, once you've got your competency, you want to purchase a pew-pew, then you can go. And in your motivation, you not just put that as for self-defense and all of that. You will then put there that this is what your firearm make is. This is the model. This is where it comes from. This is the history. This is what it was used for. So it's not just about self-defense. You have to also give knowledge of the pew-pew that you've bought. So no, I don't see you using self-defense as a motivation to get your Section 13 weapon will be counted against you.
Well, thank you for clearing that up, because that was a big topic at one point. And I don't want to say this year, but in recent years, that was a big topic around here. Where
I wouldn't use the exact word self-defense. But I would use saying, I would like to use it to protect me and my family from possible attack if it needs to be used. Do you understand? Use a play on words. I won't use the actual word self-defense, because what they're saying is, or what you're trying to say is that you'll just pew-pew everyone. That's the way of thinking, because people don't read the law as an actual definition, but as an opinion. I've noticed that in a lot of DFOs and well, in the past, I can't say now because they have improved so much, but a lot of DFOs were, and management of the SAPS was seeing the act as a opinion piece, to be honest. They read it as an opinion piece. They didn't, it's how they took the law or understood the law. And it's not up for opinion or discussion. It should be rule of law.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense.
I have a quick question. I've wondered this. I've always wanted to learn how to shoot. Okay. I'm not so sure about actually getting the pew pew or actually physically doing the tests or anything like that. But I've always just wanted to go to a place where I can or go out in the woods or wherever they do it. But I heard that you
Range.
can't do that. A range,
Not the
sorry.
woods, not somewhere out. Range.
But the thing is, no, it's just because I've seen stuff on TV, so I think my head's telling me otherwise. But what
Yeah.
I'm asking is, I heard that that's you're not allowed to.
No, that's
You
not the
have,
case. So you can go to your local shooting range. In my area, there's quite a lot, and they've got a wide variety of firearms for you to test out if you
Test.
like.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you at the range with somebody competent. You might pay. Well, definitely you will pay for the rounds that you will use, and they might charge you a let's call it a rental fee for the firearm that you're about to use at the range. That firearm will obviously not leave the premises. It's only for use at the premises itself.
Yeah.
And it could be various calibers. It could be the same caliber but various different manufacturers. And you can go and get your experience for the firearm that feel comfortable for you. So that's the whole intent for that experience. So the
because I
shooting,
was wondering because
yeah,
I've seen it on TV where like say ladies have a bachelorette or you know they just go out and
yeah,
they're allowed to do
yes,
in
you
a
can.
debate with
Even
people
if you
saying
don't have a
you can't do
firearm,
that
Tassie,
unless you.
yeah, even if you don't
Yeah.
have a firearm, so what will happen is there'll be a range officer on site that will teach you the safety, handling the weapon safety, and also following range rules.
Yeah.
Okay, and
No, that's for sure.
instructions.
Okay.
Okay, so you will sign the register, and you will go there, and as long as the person who owns the weapon is within your direct area, not on
Yeah.
another range, right on your range by you, where it's under their personal you can use their firearm to go and pew.
Okay, that's nice to know. Thank you.
Yeah, and please go do that exercise. It might cost you a couple of $100,
Yeah.
for ammunition and rentals and whatever. But go familiarize yourself with a firearm and get the experience. I think a lot of the obviously accidents happens to the lack of knowledge. So it's important that you know what you must do and what you must not do.
Yeah.
It's I think it's a
No, I'm super keen. I would love to do that. Or I'm just gonna come visit
So
you, Savage.
you can, my darling. I'll do it with love. We'll go play. Everyone's
Yay.
invited. But your local pew pew shops, if they have a range, you should actually contact them because they will then give you a multitude of pew pews to try out.
yeah.
There's so much options there for you. Whereas if you're going with someone that has only got one or two, then that's where your limit is. That's all you can pew pew. So
And
go to your local shop.
it doesn't have to be a physical firearm, like I'm going to put it out here. I own a pellet gun or two. You do not need a firearm license for that. There are, however, bylaws that permit you, or actually not permits, that dictates that you're not allowed to fire that in a built-up area. So I can't use that pew pew of mine at the house, to shoot at everything and anything. And obviously, if you cause damage to property or human life, you will get prosecuted to the same extent if it was a firearm.
Yeah, 100%.
So even if you're defending yourself, if you don't
So,
have a license, you'll get
so
into
yeah,
trouble.
well, that is where the law comes into your I wouldn't call it your favor, but the law makes provision for you to defend yourself. So if it was a knife, if it is with an axe, if it is with your frying pan or whatever you've got, you are allowed to defend yourself.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Yeah. So it's the
And
difference
like,
when you're just messing around or you're in an argument and you just feel like taking out the pew pew and shooting its eye out with a pellet. Do you understand? So there's
Yeah.
a difference between self-defense, private defense, and you just being an asshole.
Okay, but is that for like the pellet guns or whatever? Because like,
All pew pews, baby. All pew pews.
but if you've got one illegally, if you've got a pew pew,
Okay.
or let's say it belongs to my husband and it doesn't belong to me, and then my husband's not here and I use it, would that count against me if I'm defending myself?
Okay. Now you're getting to a grey area, my dear.
I was just about to say, luckily you're here to answer that because I
There
don't
is a
know.
very grey area there because in one end of the spectrum, they're saying that if you've done your training, okay, you can now apply to have access to his pew pew. If he's left the house and his pew pew is in the safe where it's supposed to be, how do you have access to it? Do you have keys to the safe? Do you see the
Yeah,
questions? So like I said, it's a grey area because yes, the you are allowed to use your husband's pew pew to defend yourself and your home or your family. Do you understand? From imminent attack and unlawful attack. Okay. Do you hear what I'm saying? However, if you go to court, they might ask if your hubby was not there, because the Act 60 of 2000 is clear. He's the only one that is allowed to have access to that pew pew. So, if you get a clever prosecutor, you might have shit. If you got a very clever lawyer, you might get away with it. It's a very grey area. However, if your hubby is home and there's an incident at home where the shit has gone down and he's injured and he's not able to get to his pew pew, you are allowed to go in, get the pew pew, and defend yourself. Even if he's lying on the floor and the pew pew is next to him, you can pick it up, even if you don't have training, and use that weapon. It says in the law, use any means possible to save your life and that of another. Okay. But like I said, it's up for debate. That's how I saw it. That's how I know it. That's how I had to open a docket or 6 in my lifetime. But, very grey area. Very grey area.
Hey, wondering about.
I love the way I'm using my imaginary husband's pew pew. Sorry, Ellie.
No, all good. I was just greeting a viewer.
Yeah. But anyway.
All right.
But
So, does anybody have any further questions? Tazzy, do you have another question?
No, I'm done. Thank you so much.
Savage, is there anything that you would like to add or cover that we maybe didn't speak about or didn't ask about?
No, I think we covered most of it. There's nothing that I can add really now without confusing you, except remember to do your homework.
Yes.
Right. I've written my homework down, so I know what to do. I'll be doing that.
Build, age, height, sex, hair, and race.
Yeah. So also remember your items, how to describe property, how to describe a vehicle. I could have gone into that, but Chunky had already put it in the comments, so it wasn't necessary for me to do it because my backup was here.
Right. And also number plates.
Yeah.
How many people?
So that's what Chunky put in the comments, is that your description of the vehicle is your license plate, your color of the vehicle, make, model, and also distinguishing marks, stickers, license disc, all of that.
So I think of the lot, for me, the number plate will be the difficult one. That's the one that I think personally. I don't know about everybody else. I do not have a photographic memory, but that will probably be my challenge.
Takes practice. Honestly, that's all I can tell you. Whoop, whoop, it's the sound of the police. No, it takes practice, Rudolph, I promise you. But I think that the best thing that we can do is just train and train and train every day, because it becomes easier and easier as time goes along. And I would learn the phonetic alphabet. Because it's easier to remember. It's easier to remember the registration when you do that, because it's like a tune you're putting in your head.
So the phonetic alphabet, that is like saying hotel for A.
Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo.
Okay.
Yes.
So, good. Thank you very much. Savage, thank you for joining us tonight and sharing your information and the tidbits and just being you. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I hope I didn't bore the crap out of everyone.
No, absolutely not. But before I do end, I just want to mention, Savage, if I posted this to the podcast, would you be happy with that on YouTube? Tazzy, you were in our boxes evening, so when I post this to YouTube, would you be fine with that?
Definitely.
All right, cool. Thank you so much. Well, Savage, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, and I will get back to you with my homework. I'll let you know how that goes. And if anybody...
Alert levels.
Sorry?
Alert levels.
Yeah.
Always leave the house
Observation.
with orange.
Scenario training in your brain. Train the brain.
Yes. Train the brain.
That's
Train
a
the
good
brain.
phrase. That's a catching phrase.
Yeah.
Self-defense begins in the mind.
Yes, absolutely. But thank you so much, Rudolph and Ellie, for inviting me here. Whenever you guys need anything, advice, or you want to have me on for anything else, I know I need to do the domestic violence and dealing with the police and everything like that. But I told you guys it's going to be too much information.
Right, but we can do another episode for that, or we can schedule that as a separate episode for the podcast, because we are moving towards doing that. So, but I will talk to you about that.
All right.
And we can do that, because I do think that those are important topics as well.
Especially with the domestic violence and the victim empowerment, in the police. It's not just the police. There's so many places that actually help the women or men or children in this situation, and giving a step-by-step guide. Some people don't even know they're going through domestic violence, to be honest, because they say, but it wasn't so bad. I'm not as bad as that one. No, you didn't do that. They don't even realize that they are a victim of domestic violence until you open their eyes and say, but hold on a second, this is bad.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, and the important part also is no is no. If you're not giving consent, and something gets forced upon you, that's a crime. Yeah.
To quote Teaspoon, if it goes against your values and beliefs, goes against, and it changes your identity, is it really right for you?
Yeah. So, last question.
Yes.
Being now at the end of this, let's call it the deep dive discussion. How do you feel about it?
I had fun. I think the next time I do it, I just won't be so adamant with the points. Because there was some really big information in the beginning that I think I should have just, changed it to instead of being like a training session, be like a workshop or a podcast. But
Yeah.
live and learn.
Live and
I
learn.
actually like that there were points because it did keep things on track. It kept the conversation going in the direction that we were going. And we covered a lot of information. I think you covered a lot of information and keeping it and doing that. So I actually like that aspect of it.
Oh, good. I'm not so sure your audience will agree with that, babe. Just
Well,
saying.
I don't know. We had tonight's live, Rudolph. I don't know if you noticed, but we had the biggest viewership in here in any one of our deep dive discussions since we started.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it was a good innings.
Yeah,
that's brilliant. I'm so glad to hear that. And if it can help anyone,
absolutely.
But thank you very much once again.
Yes,
thank you so much,
thank you
guys.
so much.
Have a wonderful
Everybody.
evening.
And I just want to mention if anybody has any questions, please, you guys can get in contact with Savage Revenge.
Yes.
And she is in the security industry at the moment as well. And give her a follow, and also Deep Dive Discussions, because that's actually the page for what we're doing here. So if anybody's not following Deep Dive Discussions, please follow Deep Dive Discussions. It's at the top here. Okay. So yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. And my email address is available on the chat. So I don't know if you can get that out, Ellie, and my cell phone number if they need any assistance. I'm here. Whatever you guys need.
I hope your business goes off like a rocket.
I'm hoping so. I really do. I know I'm concentrating on the vehicle recoveries and the training and the upskilling and development of security officers. But eventually, like I said, I'm going into guarding and everything else. Thank you, Double D.
There we go. Double D put the email in there so you guys can screenshot that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm hoping it happens soon because people have to eat. As you can see, I like my food, so I need to eat. So but thank you so much for the well wishes. I really appreciate that, Rudolph. But we need to chat. I heard some things that you said tonight that piqued my interest.
You're more than welcome.
There you go. All right. Good night, everybody. Have a good night. Thank you so much for your time.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you, night.